Is it recording?
It is recording, confirmation,
Okay.
right there.
Look at
Yep.
that. That clock is actually correct.
It is.
Okay, this is the Enfield Planning Board. It is Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. We are meeting in the Department of Works facility at 74 Lock Haven Road and on the Microsoft Teams platform. Members present from my left.
Dan Kiley.
I'm David Frack.
Bill Vermeer.
Brad Rich.
Tim Jennings.
Craig Cockhouse, alternates.
Jim Baller, alternate.
Staff.
Rob Taylor.
Whitney Banker and also an alternate.
Okay. We don't have anybody joining us on Zoom by way of members. Eric did say he had a medical appointment or issue and he is unable to join. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whitney and Jim, I'll give you a chance to be official members tonight, okay? Oh, here's Linda. All right, Jim, you're excused.
Oh, so fleeting.
Boy,
Power just slipped.
you were a member for 5 seconds.
And you know what?
I can't be one either, right? Because Eric, we can't
No,
alternate.
no,
Oh,
you
you're
can't
right.
do Eric's.
You're
You
right.
can't do Eric's.
Okay, but
So,
there's not
there
gonna
aren't
be
any.
anything to vote on tonight anyhow, so
Right,
we're okay.
there is.
Sure there is.
But yeah, we've got a hearing.
It's a non-hearing.
It's a non-hearing hearing.
It's a by right lot line adjustment.
Well, yeah, but it
Or
still has to
Voluntary
be,
merger.
right, but it still has to be voted.
You guys will have it in your minutes when you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not here yet. This is not the gentleman.
We
That's
will,
not
we
the
will
gentleman.
vote.
This is actually another gentleman who I forgot to tell you about for a
Uh-oh.
conceptual.
Oh,
And
okay.
So we can
All
maybe
right.
take him out of order
Take it,
and
yeah.
have him have a discussion.
All right, let's do public comments. Anybody who is here for anything, well, there's nobody here, so no public comments. Let's do the conceptual. Sir, come on up in one of these chairs, introduce yourself.
I'll bring up a map for you
And,
guys.
let us know what you're thinking of doing.
Well, age is caught up to my wife and I. And,
Yeah, welcome to the club, sir.
so we have, our conversations have been going on for a few years now. Our primary home is a split level and it's only 5 steps up from the living room to the kitchen and dining room and 5 steps up from the master bedroom to our bathroom. But the number of years and the number of times we go up and down those things with all the surgeries and everything we've been going through is now taking its toll on us. So our intent is to have a duplex right across the driveway, rental duplex, and I'm intending to build an ground floor apartment attached to the back of that my wife and I can move into. So I called, I didn't get too much going on before I talked to Rob and Liam about, some information before I go getting quotes and going crazy with this project. So, and that's why I'm here, to see if there's something I should know beyond this. I did some very, very professional drawings. I got 3 or
I'm
4
bringing up the
copies.
map, although
Anybody
it's,
looks
yeah.
at it.
Is the
There you go.
duplex on the same lot as the house you live on
It
now?
is, it is.
It is.
So there's 3 residential uses on one lot.
And
It is in the Route 4 zone.
Or zone, okay,
Yep.
Here we go.
Which means it's doable
yeah,
because you can have up to 12 units.
So
When
here,
he told me
On
that,
an
I couldn't
acre.
believe that, 12. but
Yeah,
I want
because it's
just
more than
one.
300 feet back from the road.
so it's a lot.
It's behind Coyote.
Right, that's the one.
So it meets the setback requirements.
It's all
on that.
that back.
So, yeah, so I can give you guys a quick orientation here on this map.
Oh,
You can
great.
see Route 4.
Yeah.
This is Ziggy's,
Mhm.
Petromart, right? This is the Coyote Tractor dealership right here.
Yeah.
What used to be called the Yellow Barn, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the place.
He's got, his right of way comes across. This is his lot, 11. Which one is the duplex?
That's the duplex is the other one,
This one right here is
Yeah.
the duplex?
Yeah.
And this is a,
primary.
that's where he lives. Primary.
okay,
Yeah. So, as I talked to him, obviously this is a unique situation because We actually have a couple of, this lot David, Crate owns has
Right.
two mobile homes on it too. As I understood it, and you guys can maybe agree with me or disagree, is because it's in the Route 4 zone, he's already got an established ground floor residential use. He doesn't need special exception.
No.
He has the ability to add more units because it's in the R4 zone or Route 4 zone with the 12 units per acre provision.
Mhm.
As I understood it and then discussed it with him when he called, I think it was Monday we talked. And I wanted to get him right in because obviously we're coming up on some holidays and I didn't want to put him off too far. Expansion of residential use, he's basically a commercial use there because he's got multifamily going.
Right.
So it would require site plan. And as I understand it, David, you can pull up the
We're,
site
we're
plan.
not multifamily now. We would be multifamily when he,
Well, so the lot has multiple, so it has 3 residential uses, so I would
Right.
classify the use on the lot as multifamily.
okay, but the
So
structures aren't.
the structures aren't,
No,
but the use is. So, I mean, we're talking use as, is it
Yeah.
allowed use? So as I understood it, site plan review for an expansion of the use is necessary. And as I understand it too, reading the regs, that it would be major site plan. You correct me if you think I'm wrong. I'll pull up the site plan review regs.
Would your apartment that you're considering building, would that be within the duplex or would it be an extension of the duplex?
It would actually be attached to the shed that's attached to the duplex. My wife and I talked about possibly even having I call it an apartment, having an apartment that doesn't even attach to the
Yeah.
duplex.
How many square feet would your apartment be?
We're looking for 24 by 30 to be in the 700 plus a month, plus.
could be an
ADU.
ADU.
ADUs are allowed on single family lots, not on multifamily lots.
What's an ADU?
Accessory
Well,
dwelling
unit.
and the other ones,
Aren't ADUs allowed on,
if you have a duplex, you can't add an ADU.
But
Because
the
the
other
state law-
house isn't the regular house.
Right, but again, it's the use on the lot. It's, he's got 3 residential uses. So
That's
I don't
what-
think he's entitled to the ADU per se, but he can do. I think the only question that I had for you guys, and I mean, you totally can go against what I'm saying because you guys are in charge. As I read the site plan review, David, this is what we always reference up here. I can zoom in a little bit for you.
yeah, I'm looking at ADUs here, just,
Go ahead.
you go ahead and talk.
So as you guys read down through here, I'm looking at 153, which is down here at the bottom. Any other development, redevelopment, change of use or expansion of a multifamily or non-residential site not addressed in sections 15.2 or 153. So that's where I'm coming down. I mean, I would love it to be minor for his sake. You
I
guys
guess my
know
other question is, how big is the lot
the lot has got lots of land.
3.67.
in an R1 district?
No,
R4,
Route 4's.
Route 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, but, okay, in the Route 4, but,
He's far enough away that we can't mandate that he connects to sewer.
no, I know.
So he's already got private septic systems and he
Right.
said, you told.
I didn't bring it, but I have the original septic design. There's 2 septic systems there and the one that was built for the duplex at the bottom says
Right.
they only built 2 one-bedroom units
Yeah.
and the system is set up for 4.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So he's got 2-bedroom capacity in that septic system for the duplex.
right.
But I mean, I think at this point, the use seems like he can do it. The zoning question,
Oh, yeah,
can he do it? Yes, he can.
yeah.
So the question I'm asking you guys,
Is do we need,
minor or major? There's your
Yeah.
reasons.
I know.
What do you think? David?
Let me.
It's a residential use
If-
now.
Mhm.
it's still gonna be a residential use. There's a multifamily there now, you're not establishing a new one,
No, it's not. It's a duplex.
but that's considered
Two-family.
multi,
Is it?
that considered
Again,
multi,
again, so
I thought
That's what I'm
on the
multi-family.
site,
on the site,
it's multifamily,
it's multifamily.
because he's got
Oh,
three
okay.
residences.
It's already a
on the site.
multifamily, you're not establishing a new multifamily.
Right?
Site, so minor, it says site improvement alterations without new development, redevelopment, or expansion. So he's expanding.
Yeah, it's hard
That's where I'm coming down under
Right.
major.
it's hard to put that peg in that hole there.
It is,
It is, doesn't fit in it doesn't fit in either
but under
hole.
major,
It doesn't.
It doesn't,
any other development, redevelopment, change of use, or expansion of a multifamily or non-residential site.
Yeah.
Yeah, site is the key word.
right,
It really is an expansion of a multifamily, right?
That's where I'm putting it
Yeah.
under major. But if you guys are, it's totally up to you guys. I mean, I interpret, but you guys are ultimately,
well, yeah, I mean, it's almost like you were saying, David. It would be an ADU if it wasn't for,
If
there's a
it wasn't-
duplex sitting
Yeah.
there, which isn't considered a multifamily.
He also could put on another duplex.
He could put on,
And
he
have
could put on a
additional-
lot more units if he wanted to.
Yeah, he doesn't want-
you could.
I know.
And another septic system.
Oh,
From what I hear, you don't wanna increase your responsibilities for property
No,
maintenance.
I don't. I'd like to cut that down.
As you know, I mean, this is one of those ones, and when we start talking about changes to our zoning ordinance,
This is one of them.
this doesn't feel like a major to me, but
No,
according to the letter of the law, to
You
me,
could waive.
we can waive the major, we've done that before. I just,
this is good news. what you're hearing.
Oh, I was hoping that.
because it doesn't fit either one, really.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's gonna have to satisfy our building inspector, which is the most
Right.
important from a
Right.
safety, life safety, building code.
mhm.
He's gotta, we've talked to Liam. And, the big thing for him is what they call fire separation between the dwelling units. That's required for duplex. It's also required for multifamily.
Multifamily.
So, it's not required for ADU. But he can easily do it because when you're doing new construction, the fire separation is fairly simple.
Mhm.
2 sheets of drywall, right?
Yeah, it's either you use 2 half-inch sheets or you can use 5/8, with
5/8.
a single sheet.
Right,
It's obviously a little more
Bloody.
expensive.
Right.
And there's also a treatment, you go on the 1/2 inch, you can
But
put
it's
a.
only one
paint-
wall, it's not a huge.
Correct, a
Right.
marriage wall.
Yeah,
So there's a coating you can put on regular sheet rock if you've already
It'll
had
make that-
construction
right,
that supposedly helps you a lot, but, in terms of egress and he's gonna have to show blueprints
That wouldn't have a
to Liam for
Yeah.
construction. And those are requirements of the building permit. As you know, I mean, we're pretty good about enforcing the building code literally. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one thing that Liam.
Yeah.
Oh, and some people get upset, but he is very, very dedicated to the letter of the building code.
So, walk him through the things that you think we can waive. And
So-
let's make this
The biggest thing would be
the
The
professionally
professional-
drawn site plan.
professional engineer or professional surveyor
Right.
site plan. So this is a
We just saved
requirement
you
for,
$1,000.
for major versus minor.
right.
We save you a ton of money.
oh, yeah.
Would
Yeah.
you still wanna charge them the major fee? The
No,
major fee is
I
500.
would waive
No,
it.
I would waive that.
Charge them for the minor,
Yeah.
150, okay?
Yeah.
So we do have some fees involved with
Yeah.
it. You're gonna wanna show us a nice plan, of the site. It can be hand drawn. If you came in and I could show you some really good examples of
Oh,
what
that'd be great.
that is, but
That'd be great.
basically it's a
It's gotta
map.
be the whole lot.
And
It's gotta be the whole lot.
And
And it could be
enlarged
starting with
tax
this,
map,
with this map right here.
right.
You could literally start with this if you wanted to. I could help you print it out.
Okay.
And we need to see where are you gonna park
Right,
for the new building. new stuff,
And the old buildings.
And the old buildings where the parking spots for everybody that lives there.
Yeah.
We'd love to see illustrated any lighting that you're gonna install. Like
Lighting.
landscaping, lighting, the requirement of the town is that lights need to be facing down and what are called full cutoff, so that you actually have a shroud around the, so the bulb is up in here. And what that does is make sure that the light is pointed at the ground. It's lighting up the area that you need, but it's not spilling out into the general public.
Okay, yeah.
That's a
sure.
requirement, and I love to look at the stars at night, and if your neighbor doesn't do what we're asking, you won't be able to see the stars. So we ask you to do the same thing. And it's called light trespass or light pollution.
How
We
am I
don't
gonna
want you
see
to.
all the bears coming across my lawn, pointed at the ground?
But you can, I mean, you could have some
Oh,
lights
I'm just kidding.
lighting up your entire line, but. as
I
long
do
as
have
it's not-
bears.
Not spilling over.
Yep.
Yeah,
So do
they're
I.
eating pizza next door.
Yeah, there. More than ever.
Landscape, anything you're gonna do in terms of landscaping, any changes, if you're gonna plant some shrubs or hedges?
Dump-
Oh, I'm trying to cut down on.
Do you have dumpsters or do you have?
We have,
covers?
no, we have
No.
the totes down the bottom
Okay.
Wednesday.
Are we gonna ask him to have a screened area for the totes?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I wouldn't.
they're in my,
you know,
they're in my
and-
shed, which isn't
No,
green.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the screening requirement is really, it started as a visual screen. But nowadays it's much more because of the bears. If you can keep
Oh,
animals out of your dumpster, it's gonna.
I had a tenant a couple of years ago that is pretty good about making sure no food was out there except for the bird feeders. He put them
Oh,
out
yeah.
there. And I came out one morning and
Oh, yeah.
the shed that's not attached to the duplex has barn doors on it and the ramp going up there, so I keep all my mowers and everything. And it was like doors were open. They were
Yeah.
looked a little damaged. And I walked up and I looked in there and I didn't see nothing going on the floor and it was a little messed up. I didn't find anything going on. And he confessed to me, he said, boy, I saw the biggest bear this morning. Went out, got a lot of smoke in my building. They got to go outside. And he stepped out at 1 a.m. to smoke and he looked over this way and there was a big bear standing on the ramp going up there.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'd already gotten the bird feeders and it smelled it. And he went over and went after my shed, grabbed my shed doors and was shaking. He says, you shake it. And I just put the cigarette out and went back in the house. Scary. So, yeah, I do have bears, bobcats and a few other things.
Any other things that you guys wanna see? I'll work with them to,
Yeah, that'd be great.
help them develop this site plan.
Just
Minimum
scale,
requirements.
maybe. More or less.
Close to scale, yeah.
If we use this, it will print with a scale, so you
Yeah.
can absolutely have that.
Any existing landscaping,
you.
trees,
I don't think it
hedges,
does.
whatever,
Tax maps.
and
don't
where
put
you
the scale.
put your snow.
Right.
All right, come see.
That's easy. So far, it doesn't sound too bad, but I'll definitely hook up with you and,
Come see me. I'll give
I
you
will.
a full consult and you can talk to Liam as well.
and you work out of this building.
Right here in my office, just across the hall.
Cool.
Okay,
Monday
I
through
didn't
Friday,
catch your name.
Gary Rock
with a neon,
Nice to
right?
meet
with a neon, silent neon, and don't get me mixed up with Marvin or any of that girl.
okay.
All right,
Well,
thank you
Gary,
so much.
thanks for coming
Oh,
in, sharing
thank
your
Thank
ideas with us. and,
I'm really glad that I did this first. Thank you very much.
Person.
All right, I'll give you a shout.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And gals.
Next, we have a voluntary merger for Ruben Ramirez. He's
Not
not
here.
here, but he doesn't need to be here.
He doesn't need to be here, but
If I was him, I'd wanna be here.
I don't want to be here. You guys can absolutely put him off if you want to.
Well,
The one thing I was gonna have Dan,
Right, is, do you really wanna do this? Because if you merge these lots, you're never gonna be able to unmerge them.
I'll show you the.
very
map.
true.
You guys.
Although you may be able to, cause I was looking at it, he's going to have 1.04 acres. So he may be able to split it,
Oh, okay.
but the way the lot's built, I don't know how you're gonna split it.
So he owns two lots. This is High Street. You can see there's the intersection in the village of Main Street. He owns what used to be the daycare.
Right.
Let's remember the daycare. That's this big building.
Yeah.
He also owns lot 40. He wants to put them both together, 40 and 42.
Why?
I think the motivation is a single tax bill.
Yeah.
But as Dan and I were saying,
40's 0.145 acres. 42 is 0.9. So he would have 1.04. It just would be a very odd looking lot if he tried
Yeah.
to split it up again.
This is where the,
Yeah, but it's his decision to.
it's his decision, right?
I know it is, but
And
I
he's
would-
applied
I would
for it.
just-
If we wanna go ahead, you guys
Right.
wanna go ahead?
I mean, I don't have a problem going ahead. I was just gonna make sure he really wanted to do that, because originally I figured it was gonna be under an acre.
There's a
If
notification.
it was under an acre, he wouldn't be able to
I told him we were.
Do we,
sell it again.
do we normally approve, these types of things when they're not present?
I
would
don't
say no.
recall ever having.
I don't either.
I don't
I
think that's ever
don't think we
happened.
should, I don't think we
Yeah,
should.
I communicated with him today and I
I
said, you
wouldn't-
coming? And he said, yes, I'll be there. So.
Yeah, I would,
There's the chance he walks in here in 20 minutes, so I don't know.
right,
Okay.
I didn't tell him 6:30.
I don't feel comfortable, because maybe,
Right.
maybe he decided to change his mind and just figured I
Right.
just won't show.
well, then
Let's move on.
the merger doesn't happen because
I'd say
it was an unintentional merger.
Right, he needs to be here.
Okay, that's fine. Let's see, Eric isn't here, so we have no select board report. We don't have it on the agenda, but the legislative report is that tomorrow is veto day. Nothing really involving land use or municipal government issues is on the docket to be overridden. And, next is Rob's land use administrator report.
I'll keep it real brief so that we can get back to meat of the meeting. I am getting ready to go to the Northern New England chapter of the American Planners Institute annual conference. I go to it every year. This one's gonna be down in Portsmouth, 3 days in early November. I've seen the agenda and seen the concurrent sessions, and there's gonna be lots of good stuff. They'll be talking about all kinds of stuff, including stuff that we're working on right here, so look forward to that. I will certainly have plenty to report back when we get back from that. Still working with strategic planning, with town manager and the select board, for each department, so I've done some neat work there. Budget cycle is earnestly started now. I know you guys have a meeting tomorrow night. We've got all our department budgets in. I did not have a chance to chat with Liam this morning, so I'll have to get you guys at the next meeting with an update from the building inspector. He still seems to be fairly busy. There's some big projects, Dartmouth College being the big one. They blasted down there and moved all the blasted ledge to Conkey's Pit. We will probably be seeing at least a couple of conceptuals, in the future. The one big one that I think I brought up with you, Dan, when you came in today, the, business Keene Medical has been sold. It's a new ownership group that owns it. It's fairly large. I think, national firm that's in the medical supply business. We were worried that we would lose them here in Enfield. They have the very large office and headquarters, the old Dana Robes site next to the Shaker Museum. The call I took this week was from one of their senior VPs. And from the sounds of it, they want to actually move a retail location in Enfield using that some of that space. Right now, it's strictly warehousing and office. So I want them to come talk conceptual too, because that's obviously a little bit of a unique situation in that it's R1. So the retail is not necessarily an automatic. So I want to sort of hear from you guys what you think. Maybe it might need special exception. Obviously, there are other retail businesses in the vicinity. We've got the gift shop at the Shaker Museum. The La Salette,
The
bike
bike,
retail,
the bike
Drummond
business.
bike business is retail. So we'll wanna,
Church still there?
that's over at exit 16, talking about,
That used to be a
TK.
Yeah, they used to be in the old student dormitory.
Well, the ski shop, little bit, well, still R1, because they had to get a, ex
Right.
practice.
No, we mean the bike shop.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking,
Same district
yeah,
Same
same
district.
district, they had to get
Right.
a variance, I believe.
or a special exception. I can't, I wasn't here for that, but I could certainly look it up.
Pretty sure it was variance for retail in the R1 is a variance.
Right.
Pretty sure.
What's their timetable for wanting to add their retail there?
I'm not sure, but, I would say, you know, they didn't say it right out to me, but I'm guessing they're gonna close the Lebanon location and sell that property.
Uh-huh. The one on, Plainfield Road?
Yes,
Mm.
yep. I would point out that it was retail when it was Dana Rose. He had a
Yeah.
retail shop there. But of course, that use changed.
Right,
Yeah, you look.
So
at the
you obviously
grandfather.
abandoned the previous use, but
Yeah.
yeah.
certainly in terms of appropriateness, I think it's highly appropriate in that location. It's a beautiful spot. You got plenty of parking, state road, et cetera. Maybe that's something we want to look at for a zoning rewrite is a re-zoning of that specific area. Give some people some flexibility down there, but that's about all I want to give you guys right now. Still fairly busy with stuff. Winter's setting in, obviously, the things changed, more speculative as opposed to gotta have a building permit right now, so. And actually, I believe we're getting ready to admit. David, do you wanna
Okay,
introduce?
I will introduce
She's coming in right now.
as soon as I get rid of this. Last meeting, we talked about the situation on the not the master plan, the zoning rewrite. And we reported that, we had a meeting with Brandy and Rod and a facilitator named Robin LeBlanc. And Robin is going to join us momentarily.
She's in right now.
And, so we had hoped that Brandy would have been able to join us, but her life, I guess, is falling apart with the whole idea of moving. So she is not joining us.
Do we,
Do we have? Go ahead, Brad.
But she did call, say she couldn't join us tonight. Just FYI.
so she missed a deadline. Right?
Yeah.
Tell us that she missed the deadline. No communication. She was expected to come tonight to deliver that information. Now she's not. Am I understanding this right?
So I think tonight she was coming to join with Robin and have the discussion with Robin. She's hoping to come at our next meeting for the presentation of the audit.
Ah,
Yes,
I misunderstood.
but she did call me or she sent me an email tonight that says she was not going to be able to tonight. So I did hear from her, but, so Robin, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Yes.
clear.
Can you see me? This thing, with Teams, I never know where I am.
So up in the upper right side of your screen, there's a button that says camera.
Yeah,
And chances are you've
Okay.
got a mark through that. You just have to click that button. Should turn on your,
no, it's not doing it.
Hmm.
Turn camera on, control, I'm clicking it and nothing's happening. My video isn't working. We couldn't access your camera. Well, that's okay. If you can hear me, that's all you really need to know, right?
loud and clear. You can see us too, I hope.
I can
That's
see
right.
you all beautifully. Kept kind of
Okay.
sliding back and forth, so not sure who's what where. So
So Robin, so this is David Frack. I was on the call with you a week or two
yes,
ago.
you were. Mm-hmm.
And maybe you could start off by bringing us up to date on how your discussions with Brandy and Rod went in terms of your joining the team and whether you feel comfortable working with them however many thousand miles away and
That's
12
quite all
hours.
right.
13
Yeah.
hours difference.
Yeah.
And bring us up to date.
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm Robin LeBlanc, and I was fortunate enough at the beginning of the month to sit at the same table as Rob here. And he looked at me and he said, we know each other, don't we? And he started telling me what you were up to in Enfield, and I handed him my card. And next thing I knew, I got a call from Brandy, and and said, hey, can you join us? We're looking for somebody that can do community engagement. And so I sat with Rob and you and a couple of others, right, last week, and
Brad.
and Brad, and really enjoyed talking with you. And I think what it was just kind of a general conversation. But what I've gotten away, what I've taken away, and what my understanding is that you have done some significant work in Enfield around discussions around places to live. I like to call them places to live rather than housing if I can, because housing is really easy to say, but we're really talking about places for people to live. And so I think my question to you, I'm going to put it back to you all. You have done an amazing amount of work here to create your master plan and to create your vision for your community. And I looked at your housing chapter. You did a lot of work, and those recommendations are pretty thorough. So I think my question back to you all is, what can I bring? What can I help facilitate? What kind of conversations do you still want to have that haven't, and what kind of information are you still looking for that hasn't been addressed in to date? And so
Well,
all I know is what you put in the plan for the housing chapter as far as all this goes. But what else do you need to know?
okay, well, our mission here is a complete ground up rewrite of our very ancient and sometimes not very clear, and sometimes not very useful zoning regs. So we
Yeah.
have the housing piece, and we are going to need, community input on everything else.
Okay.
Housing, commercial, residential, which obviously that's housing. We are gonna want community input on what should be allowed in what zoning districts and where those districts should be located, or where the community wants them to be
Okay.
located. We want to look at our site plan regs. We found some things there that, perhaps are in need of revision or tweaking, or throw them out and start over again. About the only thing that we're not going to tackle in this round is our subdivision regs. And that's, I think, probably a function of lack of time and lack of funding
Right.
from New Hampshire Housing, which I should tell my board here that you were at one time the head of New Hampshire Housing, is that correct?
No. But I was the executive director of an organization called Plan New Hampshire. And you
Okay,
all may remember Plan New Hampshire from a few years ago. We came and did a charrette, a design charrette in Enfield. However, I did work very closely with New Hampshire Housing, and we implemented a program at Plan New Hampshire, which is kind of the predecessor to this program here, where we gave money to communities that applied, who wanted to expand options for places to live through zoning changes. And so New Hampshire Housing provided the money, and we provided the oversight of distributing those funds. So we pulled together an advisory board and an application process and all kinds of things, working very closely with them. And Plan New Hampshire continues to work closely with them on that. And they continue to be, I consider them some of my closest colleagues. So that's the tie there. So
okay.
I think, yes, and as I told you, when we had the meeting a couple of weeks ago, my philosophy is that if you really want buy-in and you really want your zoning regs to be adopted and approved by your community, because they all have to be voted on locally, right? They all get voted on at town meeting. So in order for that to happen, you've got to have the political. So consider a zoning reg. Think of one that you're working on now, whether it's, let's say it's ADUs. I don't know what it is, but let's say it's ADUs. And say you've got this zoning reg that says, we want, town of Enfield, we want these ADUs, we want this reg. Whether it's new or it's a rewrite, whatever it is. And for that to pass, you've got to have not just the political will to get it on the ballot, but you also have to have the public will to pass it. And that public and that politic, both you as a body politic, but also your community has to understand, what is this all about? Who is it for? What is it trying to respond to? What's the situation here that it's responding to? And in order for that to happen, there has to be that clear understanding of the broader issue about what is the housing situation in Enfield? What are the needs of the people in Enfield? And I think you already know a lot of that, but it might behoove you to go back and just take another look and say, okay, here are all of our needs. And then you step back and go, okay, what are the priorities here? What are the priorities for meeting needs? Maybe it's your older adults. What can we do to support older adults to age here in the community? Or maybe a priority is, what can we do to bring in young families or professionals? So when you get those needs identified and your priorities, then you say, okay, what's the first thing we can do to move in that direction? Maybe ADUs is one of them for older adults or whatever. But the point is that by the time that you say, okay, let's do this. Let's write a zoning reg that says, let's have ADUs. This was a step in encouraging our older adults to stay in the community. And if you work together with the community from the beginning to identify that and rewrite it and so forth, by the time it gets to ballot, you've already got all those folks behind you saying, yes, this is the thing to do. So what I like to do in my conversations, and I'm thinking that bringing the conversations, maybe it's 2 or 3 sessions, maybe some are going to be virtual and some are going to be in person, those are details to work out, but really going back in the beginning and saying, this is what you all have been doing for the past couple of years. Now let's step back once more and say, what are your priorities? What are the real needs here? This data tells you one thing, but it's those stories that you hear from the other. I don't care how many single family detached homes you've got in your community. That doesn't tell me anything about the needs in your community. Data is important. Certainly, you've got to have that data, but you also have to know you have to know those stories. You have to know how many people are single heads of households in here, and why are they still in their big houses, and what can we do about that to support that? So there's all kinds of conversation that could happen, but that all depends on what you as a community want.
Anyone have any comments or questions for Robin at this point?
One, Dan Kiley, when would you look to probably start the community public input?
It probably, I know you've got town meeting coming up in March. I also have a whole huge community conversation project that's happening in January and February in another community. But I'm thinking that, and I think I asked this question before, and maybe you can refresh me what the answer was. Are there any things that are being voted on at town meeting that might have some kind of an impact on how these conversations might go, or how the landscape of housing might be in your community?
I don't think so. I think if we put anything on the ballot this year, it's to clean up stuff that
Okay.
we've seen. It's not a major change to the zoning regulations.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having a difficulty here. And it's not your fault, Robin, but absent Brandy and you having a conversation about how she was expecting this to go, I feel like Robin's being thrown in the middle of a project here without any direction. And I'm not sure that can come from us, because we don't know what Brandy had in mind.
Right. And she may not, I don't know if we didn't really have a chance much to talk about this, but we are going to be talking next week. but this is kind of a fact finding for me. So,
Well, what I
just-
mean is, for instance, I know there's a point where we'll probably have a zoning district in concept. And there'll be some stakeholders in that district, and I'm gonna use one here just as an example. Because we have talked about this, maybe the Lower Shaker Village properties that are there become one zoning district in and of itself. And maybe not, but let's just suppose that it is. Then there are a number of stakeholder groups within the homeowners association, there's the museum, there are business owners, et cetera, that would need to be, I would think, gathered together and presented with some of the ideas that we have in mind, and then the feedback drawn from them that would allow us then to move forward with finishing up the rules for that zoning. So it seems like there's these little, and it could be the lake districts as well, right? And so these, I would think a number of meetings like that, where you're bringing the people that are absolutely affected by your zoning thing.
The stakeholders.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
And how we get there to that point, I don't know. And I would have thought Brandy would have had a conversation with Robin about how she sees Robin being used to facilitate those meetings where Brandy can't be here.
Robin, do you want to respond to Tim's comment?
yeah, I can see that there are different ways to approach this, and that certainly is one of them. One of my other caveats, that I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying this is the way I approach things, is that we don't lead with solutions. We lead with needs, and then we say, okay, here are some solutions that might meet those needs. What do you think? Instead of doing it the other way around. When I've done community conversations in the past, we try to cast a broad net, because rather than do it by neighborhood, but certainly doing it by neighborhood, if that works for you, happy to do that. We could do it in small groups, do it across a timeline. It's certainly, to answer your question from a minute ago about timing, it could take a couple of months just to get this set up. So I would say to take the first quarter, or right before town meeting, to get these set up. What is it that you want to address with each of these groups? How many groups do you want to have? All like that. And what do you want to get out of each one? Then when town meeting's over, then we can start to have those conversations, because town meeting will be over, and then folks will be ready to dive in and to have these conversations. We can have some during the daytime. We can have some in the evening. I can be there in person for some of them. For some of them, it might be just as easy to do it by Zoom. Just full disclosure, my kids live in Norwich, so any opportunity to get to go visit them is fine with me. That's not the issue, but just trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. It's going to take some time to get that set up and get that organized, and get the questions. What are your framing questions? What is it that you want to know? All like that. So this is, as I said, this is just fact finding for here. What are you looking for? If that's an idea, that an approach that you like, that works for Enfield, fine.
Yeah, and I appreciate the not leading with solutions approach. I didn't mean that, actually. What I was talking about is, to some extent, we have to define what proposed zoning districts might be. And then before we actually talk about what the regulations would be for that district, yes, that we want to get the feedback from people. You know, what you guys that live around the lake, what do you want to see with your zoning? What are the problems and so forth? And
Yeah, Brad.
How many distinct districts would you say, just off the top of your head, would you say we're talking about here? You've got quite a few. I'm sorry?
You mean adding?
No, your distinct districts that you're saying.
Oh,
So if you've got the Mascoma, you've got the Lake District, you've got Eastman,
Well-
you've got whatever those, I don't know how many districts you want to be talking about. whether you want to prioritize,
All of them.
let's do 4, let's do 10.
We-
However you
we're
want to do
probably
that.
talking a dozen ultimately, I
Yeah, I
would
would
think.
think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, the master plan had sort of a general idea of what new districts would be.
Okay,
I mean, the lines were fuzzy because it was a master plan. Purposely did that. But it gave the broad outline of where the town was, considering creating new districts.
okay,
And I personally am hoping that we just start with a blank piece of paper with the lot lines on it and work up from that. I don't know if you can see the map beyond the wall there, but basically delete all the current zones and start from scratch. But see here, we're running into this problem again, and I'm not sure how much further we can take this conversation. Because that approach, what I really has to be led by Brandy and her team. And so, right, we need the details to present to the public saying, this is what we're thinking. Where are the holes? What don't you like? What should we add? But we need to present something to the public other than saying, we want a lake district. Ask the public, well, what do you guys want in your districts? I think that's. Robin's role is not so much to
write the regs.
No, I know, but
No.
just to.
To do community
To
involvement.
do the communications.
right.
Yes,
Yes.
Why we're doing this.
Yeah,
And draw out the feedback from the public.
and from our standpoint, maybe town meeting might be a time where we could get 5 minutes or 10 minutes of time to say, okay, we're starting to do this. We're gonna start having community involvement
Mhm,
beginning in April or,
mhm, mhm.
but we've
Yep.
gotta, the other side of that is we've gotta have something on paper
Mhm,
by the end of
absolutely.
July. But
Mm.
if we could have the community involvement in April and May, after we've already got an outline of what the zoning regs are going to look like, then we can tighten them based on community involvement.
When you present those zoning regs, and this might be a Brandy and Rod question. The way I would approach it, and this is kind of to help you so that folks are thinking, this is in response to what we said. So what I'm thinking is, where was it that these new districts, so if you're talking about the districts here and zoning regs within the districts, what is that in response to? So if you have the Lake District or you have a portion of the Lake District, because I don't know if it's different on the Shaker side as it is on the town side, I don't know that. But what is that in response to? So leading that conversation with, this is
Right.
what we heard. This is what
Yeah.
you told us. And in response to that, this is what we're doing. So you're not quite leading with solutions. You're
Right.
leading with, this is what you all said. And then doing that. And I would be very comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I can use one right out there right now, which is the Crystal Lake, which is what we're looking to set up as a lake district, is in the R3. It's in a 3-acre minimum. Well,
Yeah,
anytime anybody wants to do anything, they've got to get a variance. Because no lots on lakes that are 3 acres.
There's two.
There's 2, right, there's on the entire lake, exactly. So, I mean.
And is that because of this, the water and sewer or
No,
septic?
that's because it was written in 1993 and they based it on how far are you from the center of town? And the further you
Okay.
are from the center of town, the larger the lots had to be.
But basically, there are a few districts, our R1 district, housing around lakes.
Right.
And we have 3 of them that we really need to talk about. What's on the ground bears little relation to what the zoning regs actually say. which as, I don't remember who it was that said, whenever you want to do anything, you have to go and get a
Right.
variance, which is totally
Yeah,
a pain and a ridiculous, hoop to make
Right.
landowners
we have-
jump through.
We have dozens of examples of our
Right.
zoning ordinance being poorly written and not,
Yeah.
not serving the town well at all.
Because at the time they wrote that regulation around the lake, there was already a homeowners association that had about 40 lots, where the homeowners association said you had to have at least 3/4 of an acre. And all the
Well-
lots were set up as 3/4 of an acre, but the zoning, it was put in a 3-acre zoning district,
mm, yeah,
Et cetera, et cetera.
et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera.
yeah.
exactly.
Well, small comfort, but you're not alone.
Right.
Next week, right? Next meeting, we'll have the audit.
Robin?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically what I'm hearing is from trying to, in my mind, put your other commitments in context of our needs. I think we're looking at this public involvement phase being 2 months, maybe 2.5 months.
Mhm.
And my question to you, what?
2 months long or?
Long.
Long. It has to happen from shortly after town meeting through the end of April.
Right.
To give Brandy and Rod enough time to react to the information that they get from the Enfield community, work on some regs, bring it to us, we give feedback, they rewrite, we do more public involvement to see if we got it right,
Okay.
and this all has to be wrapped up by the end of July. At least as far as, the grant is concerned.
Right.
So my question is, do you have sufficient time in the late March, April, May timeframe that you can do an extremely intensive community engagement campaign?
I can do the community engagement part. I'm happy to facilitate that in collaboration with Brandy and her team and you all. You know, which is important, finding locations, all of that stuff. I don't do any of that. I'm going to be, I'll just do the facilitation part, helping to write the program for each of those. You know, what are the questions? What are the framing questions? How is this going to be handled? How long does it have to be? But a lot of it is going to depend on what Brandy and what Rod want. So this is really good information, quite frankly. And it's going to take that long. It's going to take probably between now and town meeting just to get that all ready, to get all of that lined up. So, you know, on this date, we're going to go here and this is what we're going to talk about. And so do you really want to talk about 12 different districts or 12 different zoning regs, or do you want to kind of bring it down? I don't know how you want to approach that. So that's another thing because you don't want to spread yourselves too thin. On the other hand, there's a lot of ground to cover, right? So both literally and figuratively. So yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Robin?
I'm good.
You're good? Everybody's good?
Yeah.
I guess the next step is for Robin and Brandy and Rod to try to find some time to sit down and have another conversation regarding nuts and bolts, timelines, responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm gathering that may be a challenge as they are preparing to decamp for New Zealand. But, you know,
That's
it's,
just Pierce, that's.
I suppose it's possible. What?
It appears that's what they've been doing for the past 3 months.
But I think, Rob, didn't you tell me that when they are actually leaving?
Yeah, they fly out on the 8th, which is the night of our next meeting, so there's a request from her to have a rescheduled. She's hoping for the 15th. Robin is not available on the 15th, but I don't think she doesn't need to be there for that. So the 15th is when Brandy said she would like to present you with the
Deliverables that we were supposed to have last month.
audit, regulatory audit.
Right.
What is your thoughts? I mean, I had said to you, David, maybe to you as well, we came
Yeah.
in. So that first meeting, the Wednesday that we're scheduled, I believe is the 8th on the calendar.
Right.
She's not available. She's literally on a plane from the 8th to the 10th, believe it or not, because of the length of travel and the time. So I am actually coming back from my conference on that same day. I can make the meeting, no problem. But I wouldn't mind moving it to the 15th either, if that works for you guys. Is that the following Wednesday?
I can't be here on the 15th.
You can't.
How about the rest of you?
I should be fine.
Okay. And the other proposal was, since we were not gonna meet the day before Thanksgiving, and there's an extra Wednesday in this year's November, that we actually have a second meeting the Wednesday after Thanksgiving,
The 29th.
29th. Rob's got it up on the
The
screen.
15th and the 29th. So we basically offset our regular schedule, which would be the 8th and the 22nd, which is what we're on the calendar for based on our regular times. But because of Thanksgiving and extenuating circumstances, if we offset to the 15th and the 29th.
You know, that way we could get 2 meetings in during the month of November.
Yeah.
And
get more done on this.
get more done, exactly.
On this stuff.
Yeah. Is everybody amenable to taking those 2 November meetings and pushing them off a week?
I'll take care of all the logistics.
Okay,
That'd be good.
space,
Space, absolutely.
I don't know if this room is,
The 15th is available.
okay.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. You don't need me anymore, right?
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
It was great to meet you all and see some of you again, and we'll see where this takes us. So thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
You gone?
She's
gone.
off. Yep. She sent me she sounded really sick.
Yeah,
I am fit to be tied, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm feeling the same way. too.
I
Yeah.
am fit to be tied and, I think we gotta have a serious discussion about whether we wanna continue with Randy. Just keeps kicking down the road.
This is just what you predicted.
Well, yeah, and
It's gonna get worse.
well, yeah, the problem is we don't have an alternative.
Right, there's no other options.
Well, I'd like to suggest something. Fred and I chatted about this. I'm not sure that you agree with this or not.
I didn't, but it's looking better now.
Okay. Well,
House.
it was brought up at one point that we consider using the Upper Valley Planning Commission team.
Yeah.
Comments were made, and I'll summarize really broadly here, that they're young and inexperienced.
Mhm.
So it dawned on me that if we coupled them with Robin, who's not young, well, she's not inexperienced.
No, she's actually very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Right.
That I think the thing we were most concerned about was the community engagement part. You know, can a young person, as a planner out of college for 2 years, be able to engage with the various stakeholders we have in the town, the various age groups and political persuasions, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm suggesting you might consider rethinking that, where we put Robin and the Upper Valley Planning Commission together as a team.
You know, Lebanon has a couple of planners that are really good. And I don't know if they've been approached to see if they
Are they
could.
approved?
Hmm?
They have to be an approved,
Who, Upper Valley?
no, I don't know if is Upper Valley
Yeah.
on the approved, they
Yeah.
are.
You mean the city of Lebanon?
Yes,
Yeah.
I meant the city. And they were people who may have started out with Upper Valley, like Sunapee. I don't remember anymore, but a couple of them were really good and, you know,
I would
They
say that.
also have,
Totally out of the realm of possibility.
Okay.
You guys wouldn't want me working for Lebanon, would you?
yeah, and
So,
they
I don't
probably
think
have.
they wouldn't go for that.
Moonlighting clauses in their contracts and.
Playing devil's advocate, Tim. My understanding was, and Brad, correct me if I'm wrong on this, was that Robin, as the facilitator, would have her content driven by Brandy and Rod.
That's correct.
If we switch it up and we say Upper Valley Regional Planning, Lake Sunapee, whatever they're called, drives the content, are they experienced enough,
Seasoned.
seasoned to develop the content for a good community discussion? And more importantly, are they seasoned enough to be able to write a good set of zoning regs? And I don't know the answer to either of those questions, but I think we ought to talk about it.
And I don't know the answer to that either. I'm assuming that as an entity, Regional Planning Commission, that would have a considerable amount of reputational interest to preserve and would want to do a good job for us.
They've lost a lot of people.
But
They've lost a lot
I
of
know
good
that-
people.
not at all, so.
They've lost a lot of good people
See, why
over the last 2 years.
if there's 70 planning contracts out there, where do you think they'll go? You know, they're gonna go where the money is.
Yeah.
So-
Well, we just jumping quickly before I lose my thought, your mind. Maybe as a off the books, off the record type of ask Nate, he may know these people, he might have had professional dealings with them. And he, no, what's his last name?
They know it.
Yeah.
Because he's, in that circle. He may, the people that are currently working at our Regional Planning Commission, he may have a professional relationship with and can give us some feedback on.
Readers got probably more.
Yeah, well,
professional
either one,
relationship
yeah,
with
but
them.
either one, but just sort of like,
Right.
just a side conversation. Hey, what do you
Yeah.
think? Is this something the town should consider?
Or you can always engage them for a form of peer review or a collaboration so that you can get 3 different entities involved. I just have not a good feeling about working with the team in New Zealand.
I'm not
To the
thrilled
point
with
where
either
I
at this
would
point.
risk
Yeah,
going with Upper Valley before I would risk.
Well, remember that we do have if all else fails and we can't get anything, Nate is willing to take on the project.
well,
Yeah.
no, he was willing to do the community piece. I don't believe he was willing to do the entire project.
Yeah.
We were
Oh,
looking for
was it
him to
just
be
the
a community
community?
facilitator, yes.
Okay,
What role
Yeah.
should Nate play in helping us evaluate our progress along the way if we had the Upper Valley team? Could he be a part of that, but not directing it? We've got Robin doing the facilitation part. I mean, we're bringing a lot of different talent.
Well, yeah, the problem is that the contract would have to be with Upper Valley, which means Upper Valley would have to agree to have Robin.
Well, you just tell them they have to do that, or they don't get our contract. And I think they're gonna be chomping at the bit to do it.
They might be.
Not sure what I base that on, but.
Right.
They may be shorthanded and not have
They could
enough
be.
people.
Maybe they've already engaged in that with other communities.
Rob, what do you think? You know all this.
We met with Upper Valley. You were with us.
I was.
I didn't get a sense that they were chomping at the bit. They were very much like, you're one of our paying clients,
Right.
and we will do everything we can to help you in any way that we can.
Right.
But that's the caveat, but.
Right.
Okay, well, that puts a little different color on things.
Yeah, it was
What
like,
about,
I can tell you from a space place, they had an entire floor on the Whitman building. They're down to 3 offices,
are they really?
and they don't have their conference room anymore.
Wow.
Rob, what do you think about Place Sense? Do you think that ultimately she'll come through?
I have not given up on her. I mean, has it been problematic here? Absolutely. But,
I mean, from my point of view, tonight's a bigger problem than the other one.
was it great to have her here to have this conversation?
She waited until tonight to tell you.
Yes.
And to Tim's point, she should have been here the first time Robin was meeting with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, she got hung out to dry. I mean, she can handle it.
Right.
Well, they obviously hadn't
But-
had any conversations.
We haven't had
You know,
conversations with you guys.
I mean, I wanna go with Brandy, but it's one thing after another. It's killing me.
Yeah, so I mean, I've spoke with Brandy a couple times in the last few weeks. It is, she literally has a line on a house in Auckland,
Don't care.
and so it literally is a dust cloud. But it could literally settle right down to when she gets to New Zealand, she moves into a new house. She's
Not
done.
my problem. Don't care.
I know,
I
but
don't
I mean,
care about her
we're in a
problems.
window right now with her.
I don't care about her window.
She wants
That's our window.
I
our
care about my
money for this contract, because she needs the money.
Oh, yeah, she hasn't,
But we're
she hasn't
not,
billed us anything yet. You know,
we're not
she needs money. She's
getting
billing
what
us.
we need
Yeah,
in order to pay her.
Yeah.
So she isn't holding up her end.
But I think I think we'll be okay with the audit report. I had suggested at one point way back that when we were thinking about just cutting her loose altogether, that why not have her finish the audit report, get that to us? Because what's it gonna tell us that we don't already know? That our zoning ordinance is a piece of junk. But it'll be written in a way that we can show the community why it is we want to rewrite.
Why we need to rewrite it.
Not just that it's a piece of junk.
Right.
well, Tim, what kind of crosses my mind is if and when we get that audit report, and I'll be pessimistic here, we are going to want to make a decision amongst ourselves, whether this is just a slapdash thing that she threw together during her 22-hour flight, or whether she really put some time into it. And we know what's wrong with our zoning regs. And
I have another one thing though I want to throw out here. I mean, this is specifically to you. I know you're the doubter in this room. We had a great relationship with her through the master plan. Were you, I mean, did you doubt her then? Did you think that she wasn't
I
giving?
thought her work was very good.
I did too.
Yeah.
And this was before that she decided to uproot her whole life. She literally has sold her house, sold her cars, got rid of her pets, her sheep, everything. And,
I don't
mean,
care.
I know you don't,
I don't care.
but I'm just explaining.
All I can judge.
When she was working for us on master plan, she
We are-
didn't have all
I'm
that
in-
stuff going on.
I'm
We
in
were
violent
happy.
agreement with you.
Yes.
Okay, I think we should
Yes.
stay with her. I do.
Okay.
But all I care about, all I can judge is what has happened over the past 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's been instance after instance after instance of complete disregard to deliverables and meetings.
I have a suggestion.
I can't argue with you. You're 100% correct, and that is what that's what scares me going forward. But
Excuse me.
do we have a viable option, or can we pull together a viable option?
Not really.
No,
Well, how about we hedge our bets? We're gonna get on the 15th, the audit report.
Yeah.
We're gonna have feelings after that audit report, which are gonna lead us to say, well, yeah, let's stick with Brandy's team. Or maybe we're unimpressed. In the meantime, in case we happen to have those feelings, how about we have a meeting with Upper Valley and talk with them a little bit more seriously about what could you do for us in the terms of the zoning rewrite? And so that's in our back pocket.
And we're not looking for the community involvement piece,
Right.
because we want Rob, the thing is, you gotta have Robin.
Yeah.
But you gotta work it out with Robin.
So here's the thing. The reason Rob's here is because he's such a nice guy. We like him. Everyone likes him. He's good with everyone, even the stinkers and difficult people.
Talk about me.
Yes, you, not Rod,
Okay.
Rob.
Okay.
And he's just so nice. What if Brad had the conversation with,
Upper Valley Lakes.
no,
With Brandy.
no,
With Brandy.
with Brandy?
You know what? It's gotta be David. It can't be me. It's gotta be
No.
David.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could just not eat for 24 hours and roar like a
I can
deer.
be a mean son of a bee if I have to
I
be.
think if we just start asking the questions, David. Just start asking the questions. What happened? Why?
I'll put a letter together.
Why no
And let's
communication?
put a letter
Yes,
together with your
on
signature.
writing.
What happened tonight?
Yeah.
Why the last minute?
Mhm.
What's the next one gonna be?
Well, when, did she give you a date on when a current dates, an up-to-date date of when the
15th
audit?
15th of
15th.
November.
November.
So we're gonna get the thing the same day to read.
So she said. So she told me.
She can't send it to us before the meeting?
I don't, she didn't send me anything, but she said. she-
No, I mean for the 15th. Can she get it to us by the 12th?
Oh, that's a good question. Considering she'd be on the airplane till the 10th.
She can write it there,
Say something about that.
you know?
And
Well, being that it's already 3 months, well, when,
It was
When was
supposed
the
to be
original
October
delivery?
14th.
October
Originally, it was
14th.
supposed to be October the 13th.
so
13th or
she'll be a month
Right.
late,
Should be a month late.
Which is fine,
if she told us.
if she told us.
And if it's a good report.
There needs to be an email or something in writing saying, we expected
Brad,
this and you didn't deliver. We expected to hear from you. We didn't hear from you. You were on the agenda. No call, no reason.
I have an offer.
See,
Okay.
he doesn't want us to be stinky.
I would volunteer to write you guys a memo or some sort of report based on my observations. And you guys all know from conversations with me,
Right.
I think I understand it better than almost anybody in this town. And I would be willing to simultaneously, like you're saying, hedge your bets a little bit.
Yeah.
Offer you guys a pretty thorough crack at it.
of the audit of our regs, is that what you're saying?
Well, the audit's gonna be done. I mean, that's gonna be completed.
What's that?
You're not talking about the audit, you're talking about rewriting the zoning ordinance.
No, I'm talking about the audit. We need to identify the weaknesses of our current regs. That's what the audit is supposed to do.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, what I think might happen, likely to happen, is we get the report on the 15th that we're either gonna be very impressed with are not so impressed. Even if we're not so impressed, we're not gonna redo the audit. You know, it's just gonna be what it is.
Right, and if you have something from me as well,
Well,
Compare and contrast.
I don't know that there's really a need to do that.
you can put them together.
I really don't. I think all the little bits that you might accumulate, each of us have got to probably have some familiarity with. If we need to supplement that later on, because we're,
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't think you have time, Rob.
I mean, I don't remember how many hours she has. I can probably find it,
20% of the,
but she had a significant number of
I know
hours.
she did.
And
How
if
many
you,
hours do you think she's got in so far, though?
0. And if you did nothing between now and the 15th of November, you could not do it. If you did nothing else, you don't have the number
Yeah,
of
no,
hours.
I'm not offering, you know, 100-page booklet.
no,
on it.
you're
I'm offering,
you're offering
I'm
these,
offering.
here's
basically
20
cliff notes.
points. Right,
So, I mean, ultimately, I know
Right.
you guys wanna just completely throw everything out. You wanna throw the baby out with the bathwater. But for me, there's 20 things in our
Right.
ordinance that would absolutely revolutionize the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, but
Go for it.
It's up to you guys. I mean, I'm not talking about literally spending every day, all day
right.
for the next 3 weeks. I'm not, it would be a couple of afternoons of my work.
Right,
And I
because
would
you've
hand
got
you
probably,
guys,
you've probably got 10 of them in hand right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, theoretically, Brandy would be having a conversation with you and already has spent 3 or 4 hours on this very topic.
she hasn't.
Yeah.
She hasn't.
She has.
And I put my, I mean, I showed you guys the list of stakeholders, which I've shared with her. My name's right at the top.
and nothing's come back.
And I haven't talked to her, so.
Right.
And I would absolutely, I mean, you know,
I
I
think the.
I put Jim Taylor in there, I put Liam in there, I put Ed, I put
Right.
David Frack, I mean, I put everybody, you guys saw the list, and we added more to the list after you guys looked at it.
I think before we send you down that path, which may in fact happen, I think David needs to have a.
Come to Jesus.
Come to Jesus conversation with her. If you can find her and get a hold of her and she'll return calls. But you've gotta, you say, Brandy, what's up? What are you doing?
We have some concerns.
We have some concerns. You missed it, you didn't even tell, you know, I'm.
No, I mean, it has to go through Rob. Rob has to be making those calls as the
Yeah.
town
Yeah.
employee.
Yeah.
I mean, David's the chair, but he's still
You and I
a
can do it
volunteer.
together.
He is,
A
yeah,
planning board
he can be
volunteer.
in the room, but yeah, it has to be because
I mean, David, right, David can
he
be on
has
the
no power
conversation.
outside of this room.
Right, I mean, he could be in part of the conversation, but
Right,
Rob has to be dialing the
Yeah.
phone number.
you're right.
Okay.
And yeah, and why did she pick the 15th for a delivery date?
Because she can't do your regular meeting on the 8th,
Right.
that's why.
Flying and
But she can't,
So it's a 1 week
but it's a,
delay.
they've been to New Zealand.
You're right, but she can't
But
send us the form.
can't send
Can't
us-
send us the
she
report.
can't send us the report.
She knew it.
She has another week, she needs another week to send the report, because it's not written yet.
But it's, anyone with a calendar can see when we're meeting. It's scheduled. So she could have planned around it, something else.
Well, especially since it's already a month late.
A month late is fine. I don't have a problem with a month late. I have a problem with the surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not delivering. No communication.
Yeah, and.
That's what worries me.
This horse is about dead, isn't it?
I mean,
Here I've got to notify you, I can't
Yeah,
make
get
the
working on
deadline,
it.
but here's
Yeah.
the revised schedule that shows how we're gonna go forward.
Right, I mean, it's, right, but if you had a deadline a month ago, you didn't meet it. And it was just left like, oh, I missed, sorry. But then it was like, I'll get it to you next week, or I just need another week or another 2 weeks.
it wasn't even that. She didn't even recognize, correct me if I'm wrong. She didn't even recognize that she missed it. There was no, oops,
Whoops.
there was no, I missed
Right,
it.
right, it
I'm
wasn't-
sorry.
right, I
There
mean,
was nothing.
Yes, that's my problem,
That's
is
what
it
I'm
wasn't
concerned.
on her schedule, here's the deadline, I need to get this delivered. So it wasn't staring, like flashing red, and it's not gonna happen, let them know, I need another week or two. and then I'll send it.
So if
You didn't get that.
if you had to make your mind up right now to go or no go with Brandy and team, what would you say?
I got feeling saying, I think we're gonna get Bruns.
Okay, so you're a no.
I'm a no. I think we're gonna get Bruns.
Where are you, Rob? Or Brad?
I'm steamed. I don't think we have a choice.
I agree. We don't have a choice.
We don't have any other viable options at this point.
But I think it's, to Tim's point, I think it's very likely, and Kurt's point, very likely that she will ultimately fail us.
I think there's a good chance of that, and I think we need to be prepared if things aren't moving along so that Robin has the
Something.
material that she needs to do the community engagement part.
Even more important.
At
Even more
that,
important than the audit.
at that point, we have to say, Randy, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
We need to
And-
have that conversation sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Yeah,
Is Brandy aware that we have concerns
Yeah.
about
I
her
shared that with her.
performance? She does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I shared that with her. I shared what you basically have said.
Yes.
Send her a copy of our.
And what was her
Video
response to
on
that?
What was her response to the fact that me and others
So
are concerned?
was a phone call last week saying that she was gonna come and meet with you guys tonight with Robin, and that it was gonna sort of get us up all back on track. And then I
mean,
get
it
an
must be
email
driving
at
you nuts too.
4 o'clock this afternoon. Sorry, I'm not gonna make it. It's too hectic with this move. So,
Okay.
I mean, if she didn't come in person and,
right,
joined us by Zoom, I would have been tickled pink to
Me
see
too,
that happen.
me too.
right.
But the fact that she couldn't find 30 minutes, because I think that's about how long we spent with Robin, to stop packing or whatever she's doing,
But I think there needs to be another conversation.
that's disappointing.
There's gotta be another conversation. Maybe it's you and Rob, whatever. There's gotta be another conversation. You gotta lay it right out.
I agree.
It's, you did great for us on the master plan. We appreciate it. But your actions and inaction over the past 2 or 3 months is really scary for us. And do we need to move on and find another solution? Are you going to come through for us? Can you guarantee that you are going to come through for us on this?
I think that's a conversation that should happen on the 15th. She's got.
No,
No, way
No.
before this.
She needs to hear from all of you, not just her.
no, this
Okay.
has to be tomorrow.
Okay, I have a suggestion, which we can modify or throw out. If I were in Brandy's shoes, while I would probably be expecting to be hit over the head with a hammer, I think maybe if we sent her a letter, email, outlining our concerns, signed by the planning board, and then said, we need to have a conversation not later than such and such a date. She, A, has a heads up what our concerns are, and B, is put into a position where she has to respond.
One way or the other.
Rather than just hit her cold. And that gives her some time to make a rational decision about whether she can really pull this off or not. And if not, then we
cut bait.
we have to cut bait, cut her loose, and develop whatever other options we can.
And it's not a phone call to Microsoft Teams. I wanna say,
You say it's a letter.
well, there's a letter.
A letter
but-
first.
But setting up the time is gonna be a Microsoft Teams. It's not gonna be a phone call.
Well,
So if she doesn't show up for the Microsoft Teams, you know where you stand. But she didn't show up for it tonight.
well, I think it's really a matter of the message is communicated, however that's,
I agree.
and then basically, she's either gonna say, I can reassure you that we're gonna be there for you, we'll get this done, and she'll be here on the 15th. Or she's gonna say, you know, you're right, we better not.
Yeah,
Right.
And so she won't be here on the 15th.
Okay.
Okay.
can we set up a Teams meeting with as many of us as possible as a quote, special meeting? Just so she knows that it's the whole board that is concerned.
Well, you could send her a copy of this video, this meeting.
She may.
She may, if she has time to look at this video, she should have had time to show up.
I mean, David made a great point. I mean, on Zoom for 30 minutes.
Yeah, she could have, and we would have felt a lot better, wouldn't we?
Or even 15, really sorry. I know I haven't been there for you. I wanted to set Robin up, but I've got to jump off.
Well,
Something,
I
yeah.
mean, it was supposed, a normal schedule would be November 8th. And that's 1 week prior to the 15th,
Not playing then, though.
She's on a plane.
right?
I think it's the letter and the 15th.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
where it-
I agree.
Okay,
Would it be?
And letter and
reasonable?
the fit,
tie a ribbon around the old oak tree.
right, and
On the 15th, if it's not around the oak tree, we know you're not gonna be there for us.
Right.
and I guess the only question I would have is, do we need to have a backup before then, just in case?
Yeah, I.
Is it,
think you
is it
should.
talking to Upper Valley Lake
We've
Sonnex?
talked to them. They've said, whatever you need from us, we will do it.
Well, I'd be a little bit more specific
Right.
about how we're concerned that we may lose our relationship with, the consultant we currently have.
That's what we said, that's what we said to
Right.
them. We met with them.
yeah.
Already said that.
Were you on that meeting?
So they're the backup.
We're even doubly concerned that
Yeah, we're past concerned.
and,
We're scared.
let's just,
Yeah.
let's just have a phone conversation.
There's no.
Yeah,
With
I mean,
face thing.
It's all
for
like
this-
get us-
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt him though. I'm just wondering if it would be reasonable to include in the letter that maybe if she could send the board a copy of the information we're supposed to get on the 15th. But we know that she's moving pretty much that entire week. Like, could she send us a copy by the
before
8th?
it leaves.
Right, before she leaves.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Let's ask for that in the
And then we
letter.
could
Yeah.
at least see it
Right,
before we actually
I
have
mean,
that
if we get the documents on the 15th, and that's the first time I get to see it.
Yeah,
Well, the other
I
problem,
feel,
to be very truthful, the other problem was we said October 14th was the drop dead date.
right, so
So
it's,
let's have the letter say,
Right,
we want the copy by the 8th and we're fine with moving your meeting
meeting to the 15th,
That'll work.
right.
Right? And then
Mhm.
that give us all a week to digest what she has
Yeah.
to say.
Or if it doesn't show up, we even get less to digest and
right, right.
Then we'll have.
Right, I mean, she can use the excuse.
another week in Upper Valley Lake Sunapee.
Right, and if she still has like tweaking to do on the 8th, that's fine.
That's fine.
Send it anyways.
Send
We
us a
want
draft.
something,
Send us a
and
rough draft.
we
Yeah,
want a draft, a
Right.
minimum, a draft by the 8th.
Yeah.
And,
she did
and
that
if
a
we
lot.
can't
with
even
the
get
master.
that,
Well, I know.
Would
What,
show
draft?
stuff that was a draft.
Oh, yeah.
She
She did a
still
lot
had
of
to
it.
clean it up.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't think it would.
right, but if we can't even get a
But we
draft
just
by
need
the
to
8th,
have
there's a serious.
some indication that she's putting some time and effort
Right.
into this.
And that gives her 2 weeks to do it too. So,
Or 4
Yeah.
weeks from the original missed date.
well, yeah, but it gives her 2 weeks
Right.
to get it
Right.
to us.
Brad, would you help me work on that letter?
Sure.
Because you're not tough enough, you need him.
I want his input.
He's got trucks going back and forth from Massachusetts all the time
Yep.
with drivers that
Yeah,
don't know
you
how
know,
to
it-
drive.
It's funny how we all bring different experiences to the
Right.
table. And I was just thinking, sitting here trying to cool my jets. And it's like, in fact, when a vendor has done this type of thing for me, they're gone.
Yeah.
Gone. I don't give them second chances.
I,
You miss a deadline? No problem. I don't like surprises. Tell me about it beforehand, no
Right,
problem.
exactly.
But this has just been,
I am in a similar situation right now with a vendor
yep,
who was supposed to have shipped, Monday of this week. And, or was it Monday of last week? Can't remember. In any event, wrote him a nice email and said, just checking in. You had originally estimated you were gonna ship on whatever date, and where are you now? Well, as soon as we know a firm ship date, we'll let you know.
That's not helpful.
Yeah,
Not helpful at all. So for the second part of the job, which is for a slightly different client, I looked for other vendors who can supply the same product. And I found one in Texas who is about 20% less expensive and promises that they can do the job in 3 weeks, normal turnaround time. Or if we need it faster, let us know.
the problem we have here,
We don't have that kind of.
I know.
we don't have the out, but sometimes,
this horse is dead.
sometimes you have to make the call anyway.
Died half hour
Yeah.
for me.
This horse is dead.
Sometimes you have to say, enough is enough,
Exactly.
Mhm.
and, I'm not sure.
Let's get something.
Enough is enough.
Then we move
We've
on.
got a map.
Let's move on.
Okay. So. New business. I think we beat the project update to death. And I thought we would talk a little bit in the remaining half hour, which should have been an hour, about how we want to approach the zoning rewrite from our point of view. And what I thought might be a good way to approach it is a variation on the who, what, where, when, and why, or how. And that translates into what kind of zoning activities do we want? Where do we want to have them, which is drawing on the map? And then the how is the implementation, general regulations. So the first part of my proposal is we talk about what zoning districts we think we ought to have in Enfield.
Which ones we should get rid of?
But we have a blank
Right,
map,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So we're starting from scratch
okay,
and we don't have any zoning districts.
okay.
Whatever's in this book, we
It's
throw
gone.
out
It's gone.
and we start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And we say, what do we have on the ground now?
Yeah.
Where are our densely inhabited areas? Where are our commercial areas? Where's our industrial areas? And what do we want to allow in all of these areas?
Yep.
And then we start drawing on the map and then we get more specific.
Sounds good.
There may be one district that, and I don't know a lot about it, you guys have a lot of history with it, it's that conservation district. That, seems like that's been there forever, and that's one where maybe we might want to start with what's currently on the ground, in
Right.
place. That's the only one I can think of.
One caveat,
Mhm.
why is the Eastman in the conservation district?
Right.
So I would absolutely remove.
Just location. Yeah.
Its location was based on altitude.
So altering the boundaries thereof, but
Right.
it's the one district that seems to have
Yeah.
just encompassing very large tracts of land.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, most of the just off a rough guess, like 90% of the land in the conservation district is under conservatorship.
Right.
Either Fish and Game or the Upper Valley
Right,
Land
that's
Trust.
Valley. Yeah.
There's only a few private lots in that district, and most of them are along Smith Pond Road.
Right.
And so you said we probably had some zoning frictions, from some of the private landowners wanting to do things or
I
not.
don't think so.
Not really.
No.
I mean, I think the people that buy up there like what it's there. They
Yeah,
bought there for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they had all this free backyard space, basically, but nobody's gonna build next to them.
And these entities, probably not Fish and Game, but the land trust entities, perhaps it's just one, I don't know, but is there anything about our zoning ordinance that they would have some?
There were no build,
there's no
There was no
building
building.
allowed.
so they like it just woods.
Can a piece of land that is in the conservation district or zoning category be transferred to another district ever? Can it go, can something be recategorized so that they can build on it?
Without change, well, we have to change the boundary lines. Right, I mean, we could.
Yeah.
I mean, we could change the boundary lines like any other zoning line.
But absent that, there's nothing they can do. If they own a piece.
The land trust land is under
It's
permanent
it's
easement.
permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah.
The,
right.
the fish and game
Fish and
land,
game.
I'm not so certain about that.
Well,
They
no,
got, they
Fish
got,
and Game could sell it.
they got federal money.
Right, they got federal money.
Jacob, there's
Put it
anything
in
on that?
They're pretty
conservative.
tied up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
when they bought.
I think it would take an act of the
land.
legislature
Yeah.
too to do
Yeah.
anything with that land, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's mostly unbuildable anyway.
You know,
Just curious.
I wouldn't go that far, but
No, I wouldn't either.
yeah, but if I was like, Eastman should just be its own district on its own, so that would be carved out of, just a line drawn around Eastman. And
Right.
whatever Eastman's regs currently are, we should just adopt.
Adopt what they've got.
Yeah, put some nice solar arrays across from the Shaker Museum
I know.
in that big open field and use that power we generate to generate the lights for the Los Salette.
Oh, you would get some controversy.
But electricity would be paid for the lights
Right,
every year
Yeah.
with a little solar array out there.
Good place to start, Eastman, yeah.
Okay.
I can completely see the point of that.
That's pretty easy to draw a circle. around.
It's
That's his own.
just a general question
Small.
here. The
it's a small circle.
Do we
It's a
have
half
a
circle.
marker of some sort?
I do. The half circle.
Give me a nice color.
Right, whatever the boundaries of Eastman are, that's
That's it.
that's a district,
That's the
the
half circle.
Eastman district.
Eastman
Right.
District, yep.
And so,
So right down here.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, just like that.
Like that.
That's it.
All right, first district.
First district.
so let's use it as an example here. A couple of things. Let's say the ADU provision, which we have in our zoning ordinance, but there's also a state minimum requirement for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that apply when you're talking about a single family home that's in an HOA of some kind? Like Shaker Village.
It's up to the homeowners association, I would
Yeah, the
expect.
most restrictive, I think, would
Right.
apply. So if the homeowners is more restrictive
Right,
and says you can't do something, then it would not be permitted.
right.
Well, let's just say that's a question maybe you can take to your conference. I'd be really interested to know if that state rule overrules the homeowners association.
I will ask.
That's
I'm down in Concord tomorrow.
Yeah, thought about that the other day. Well, anyway, so, Eastman, now, I imagine there's several entities there that could, that strikes me as one where, okay, there's a community focus group.
Right.
Robin. Um,
But
What-
the
what are the
thing,
questions we need to ask them?
yeah, the thing with Eastman is that's all a homeowners association.
Right.
So it's all with theirs.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no,
We still,
the minimum-
we still have, I mean, I've done a couple of,
right, but I mean,
variances in easement.
right, well, that's what I mean. The minimum lot sizes are based on what Eastman's minimum lot sizes are,
Setbacks.
Which may,
setbacks and everything.
which may translate into us saying that there are no town minimum lot sizes in Eastman.
Right,
that could be, yeah.
Right.
Entirely to,
it's entirely up to the homeowners
Oh, we can just
association.
adopt for our records what Eastman currently has on the books. And then if they want to change it in the future, they go to town meeting and do a minor change, a one-line change.
no.
No.
It's too complicated.
No. They can change it.
Yeah.
Ours is, we accept the Eastman Homeowners Association regulations.
As they stand today.
No,
Whatever they.
Whatever they
even
want it to
today.
be.
For in the future,
Whatever they want.
whatever they want, it's
Okay.
theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, basically,
okay, I'm,
Cause they're gonna be more restrictive than we are.
right,
Yeah.
right, I'm fine, I'm just whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, let's time wise. Get some other.
I mean,
districts.
look at Colby or Buttman or Star. We could say, because you're on the lake, you can have a quarter acre. But if the homeowners association says it's gotta be 3/4 of an acre, then it's 3/4 of an acre. Because that's the homeowners association regulation.
Yeah,
They're not gonna let you subdivide it because you say it's on the lake, you can have a quarter acre.
so the other cluster thing that sort of predates the zoning is the Shaker Village area.
Right.
Um, Is it, I'm not even sure what's considered the Shaker Village when it was built and what's there now. Because it's all private roads and they never
I
go
know
down,
it
I have
is.
no reason to go down there,
Yeah,
other than the museum area.
sure can.
right.
But there's the housing part that's.
As the sign says, private road, do not trespass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody, I don't
Right,
visit
exactly.
anybody down there, so I never go
Right.
there. So
Yeah,
I don't even know what's
That's
down
your
there.
village.
yeah,
Cause they're there.
yeah.
Then what's all this?
How about all this here?
And on the other side
What is
of the
what is
road,
that?
These are all single family homes,
Yeah.
private drives.
Right.
I doubt.
They're
any of those
not
are
part of the
HOAs.
association,
No,
Right, only- but I'm just talking about what's part of the association.
Well, there's several. There's several different associations at Shaker.
Yeah.
It's the
There's the
Lower Shaker
condos
Landing,
group,
right.
and then there's the newer.
Caleb Dyer area.
Yeah, I'd put some thought into this. and I was thinking
Okay,
about
okay, yeah,
associations and where they-
Right.
Now, this may not be, but just say for now.
Right.
We're starting somewhere, Tim.
Right.
Right.
And this is erasable.
And
Yeah, I would like to have an overlay on this that shows us where the sewer system is in town.
Yeah.
Cause that's gonna provide a significant, you know,
Yeah.
something we can glue over top of this that says, okay, here's where the sewer system is.
Yeah.
And these are all the lots attached to the sewer system,
Mhm.
cause that's gonna determine a lot of
Yeah, it would
ADU
be.
stuff. And,
Right, and then you can just go out.
cause that's already in our zoning regulation.
Right. Or we could just
Although-
use a blue marker.
Yeah,
True.
can
and
you
just
get,
Mark off.
can
where
you
the
get your
sewer
brother
is.
to draw this in tomorrow?
He's got a map. Yep.
Yeah,
I don't.
Or just a separate map that we can stick on the side.
Right,
Because that's too small to be drawing the sewer line ins, but if you have a blow up of the sewer area with the lots
I do.
on them,
okay.
and then we'll know, then we can
Yeah,
sort of like
got 'em.
well, generally
know where
speaking,
it ends.
I mean, we got a couple of areas that have sewer. We've got,
Right, was
we've got the Route 4 going way up there,
yeah,
and then we've got
The village,
from,
the village.
yeah, the village, and then we've got from, the condos
right,
here.
right, but that, they're not connected. We're talking lots that are currently connected.
Sorry.
Yeah.
all right, so here's the question. Lakeview,
Yeah.
is that a separate zoning district?
no, it's not, but is
I
your
would-
question, is it a
Should it
separate HOA?
Should it be a separate one?
Oh.
Now, we need to know where the HOAs are in town too, so.
Yeah.
we can identify them.
Right. That is an HOA, I believe. Yeah, it is. That's an
They have a, right, condominium association, they
Right.
do have a board of directors.
Yeah.
Um, And there is that lands they own behind.
behind.
And if
The
they should
25
wanna, if
acres,
they should wanna put another 12 condos up, let's say,
Right,
Yeah,
to what extent do we want our existing ordinance to, or our general ordinance to dictate to them what the criteria for that?
well, at least draw a line around what what is Lakeview condos, this property. Not just the structures, but the property that they
well,
own.
that 25 acres out back is privately owned now.
Right, that's privately, but they still have the septic area that can be built on,
Okay,
the old septic area,
So
right.
whatever acreage that is.
Right.
is
So they do own-
Lakeview all of this, or
I'm
who
not
knows?
sure.
Anybody?
It's a little further.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you draw up the,
It should be a lot.
tax map on the, because that would show it, just
Lakeview.
Lakeview, and that would show the, highlight the outline for.
So it's gotta be this spot here. That's all it is.
That's Lakeview.
Yeah.
This here?
That's all it is.
Okay, yeah, because you got Smith Pond Brook.
We got a small pond brook, so it's just here.
Here it is on the screen.
This one and this one.
Well, it's the Lakeview Association,
Right.
what do they own?
I believe it's these two right here, this one and this one.
So this right here. Basically. Yeah,
This one and
plus this one up here.
You delete the houses, so that it's like other structures. That seems to be interfering with, okay, how you can get a better view.
Probably where the Smith River is, and that'll make it easier for me.
Or you can go across from Shaker Boulevard too.
Oh, okay.
Over
It
here.
kind
Oh,
of follows
just
that
straight along.
line.
Shake them over. Way, okay. But Shaker Boulevard to the brook.
This area.
they do own a lot now.
Yeah, number 2, I think.
And over to the brook.
Right, and in the beach area, but that's,
No,
Just over to the brook.
and all that can
Follows the
fall,
brook.
but all that can just fall under, lakefront
Dan, I
property.
think that line on the right goes all,
Yeah.
yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
between 4A and the lake,
Let's go right
we just
in.
leave it, just call it lakefront property.
Must be it.
That looks like it.
Yeah,
Not sure.
So in general,
Where the
questions to them,
boats and the kayaks are.
That's gotta be it.
question to them would be along the lines of what in our zoning ordinance would you like to see that supports your community, your residential community, in a way that doesn't interfere with, whatever you guys want to do, but also, protects the rights of property owners. And
right.
Another thing would be helpful if we could color code each lot that is a retail lot. That does retail.
That's gonna get messy.
Now, are you homeowners association, Brad?
No.
On Holly? They're not. Cause this one
Just for the,
is
yeah, that one, Star Drive is,
Star Butman and Colby is
yep.
in the homeowners association.
Yep. We have an association, but just to maintain the road.
Okay,
And, don't they have beach? Beach property,
I'm not sure.
They have
back
They have a
ones have-
community beach.
right,
Yeah,
these back
yeah.
ones have beach rights.
yeah,
These along are obviously on the beach.
And I think identifying these HOAs is gonna be important. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that each one of them is gonna warrant being its own separate district.
No, I don't
No,
think they
no,
are either,
no,
but
no.
it could be a homeowners association district where we say we follow the regulations of the homeowners association.
That's a good idea.
And that district is not adjacent, they're all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how many there are.
Boy, I don't know.
You know,
Because a lot of them, if you had more than, isn't it, if you've got more than 5 in a development? That you have to have, if you've got a
I
common
mean, it all
road,
predates me.
right,
I mean, other
Yeah.
than the one up on Methodist Hill Road, that's the only one that I
That's the only one we ever did.
Yeah,
That's right. That's Birch is a homeowners association
Yeah.
also on Methodist Hill.
And that was
That's why I was sort of-
cluster, right? That was cluster?
but a lot of that, those associations just deal with like road maintenance and stuff like that, so it really
Wells.
doesn't apply to, they don't do other than Eastman, do setbacks or anything.
No, Butman and Colby was
Oh,
setbacks.
do they?
Yeah, that was setback.
Are they more restrictive or less?
More restrictive. Well, they're more restrictive because with Butman and Colby, it's an R4, an R3 district. But they're, I think 0.75 acres is the minimum lot size. So if we go and do 0.5, then theirs is gonna say, no, you gotta do 0.75.
But the ones on the water are not that large.
Oh, yeah. 0.75 is the minimum.
Really?
Yeah,
What happens when homeowner association decides they'll change their rules and do zero lot lines and allow lots
Right,
of
yes,
things?
that's my
Yeah.
concern with following,
I mean, we need some wording that
well,
has a little
it can't be
reason.
less restrictive than what the zone.
what the zoning, what our zoning district
Right,
is.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
the homeowners is almost like an overlay
yeah.
Yeah,
to whatever
Right.
district we
I
decide it's in.
feel more comfortable with that.
Well, push back on that a bit. Take that Colby Buttman
Yeah.
thing you mentioned.
Yeah.
So right now it's probably built out. right?
Yes.
All the lots are occupied.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
Yep.
And if their association should decide that we're going to allow,
ADUs.
well,
There you
my
go.
question is still
Right,
up there as to whether or not, how that would apply to a homeowners association. Right, but, let's say for some reason they decide that they're gonna allow a little bit more density.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that group has met and they have held a majority vote and made a decision about their community. And I think we ought to honor that. I don't think we need to get into,
And
because why are we putting zoning
well, the only,
regulations in place is to prevent harm to the
Right.
adjacent property owners. Well, they've,
well, the other,
they've decided.
one of the adjacent property owners is the lake itself.
yeah, but
If you say you can have quarter acre lots and you don't have septic, and you don't have sewer, then what's gonna happen on Holly Drive will happen more often than not.
right, and it's also,
But Holly's
there's still abutters that are not part of that association that would be affected. And it's also just get back to what kind of density do you want in that part of town? Regardless of where it is in town.
Right.
If it's either a high density, what the town wants is high density, or in an area where the town wants low density.
Right.
And they decide that they're gonna just double their density because they want to.
Yeah.
And the town has no say in the matter.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just,
no, I think there
it
should
should be
be,
less restrictive
yeah,
than what's, more.
if we say, take Buttman and Colby. If we say that this is a lake district
Mhm.
on our books, which means you could have the minimum, whatever we decide the minimum is in the lake district.
Mhm.
If the HOA is more restrictive now, that's cool.
Mhm.
But if they can't go then and say, we're gonna change it to quarter acre.
Yeah.
Because no, the town says this area is half acre.
yeah.
That's the only thing I can see.
Right,
The
'cause they-
setback from the water is set by the state.
Mhm.
So that has nothing to do with our zoning.
Yeah.
And they have to follow it.
And we need to review site plan for any,
Right.
significant changes in any of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can we go back up to 10,000 feet?
Yeah.
I think we're skimming the surface. So we've got Eastman and we've got the possibility of homeowners association overlays, maybe. Where do we wanna, or, do we wanna have strictly commercial, industrial, like we have now on 89?
You mean strictly as in only industrial?
Mm, philosophically, that's something that we need to talk about,
Yeah.
because
Right.
what if, what if we say that the entire 89 corridor for 1,000 feet on either side is commercial industrial? And what if somebody has a home there, or what if somebody has a small lot and they wanna build a home there?
Yeah.
Do we exclude it? We don't now.
The MK,
Anything that's pre-existing is grandfathered.
Yeah,
So, but if someone has a lot, a non-built, a lot that's vacant, would they be able to put a house on it? If you say no residential there, then no,
yeah,
because it wasn't because there's no grandfather, because it wasn't there.
but
Lot size is, but not no structure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's,
I
I
think
mean, we can debate that
yeah.
when we get,
yeah, that's,
when we get down to, 150 feet level.
Right.
mhm.
well, but you brought it up in terms of the 30,000 square foot. or-
30,000, yeah.
And I think in general, I'd be inclined to say that you specify areas where you don't want to have industrial activities.
Right.
And you leave it at that.
Yeah.
I don't think the town is sophisticated enough to set up industrial parks and really
No,
push
no,
towards
no,
certain
no,
kinds of
no.
things happening.
Nor do you want to stop somebody from building a house on their property because it's in the industrial area.
Yeah,
It's up to them to know they're in the industrial area and your neighbor may end up being something else.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
as far as 89 goes, where the exits are is where any industrial, it has shot of them putting a
Right.
massive road in somewhere, because everything goes uphill.
Right.
So just a few flat areas
Yeah.
off the exits.
Right.
And the biggest one would be like around the Wellback Road.
Yep.
Because the road's already pre-existing.
You could put apartments there.
Right, I mean, you
It's
could do,
flat.
right. you
Where
could do-
Casco is flat.
Yeah, that's what in my mind I'm
Right.
thinking of. And that would be commercial,
That would be commercial.
so I'm gonna draw just sort of a rough circle right around there.
well, there's exits, the first exit where the gas stations are.
Right.
Then there's the next where,
Down is this
the Humane Society,
The terminal's there.
Yeah. And
down where,
where it goes into.
the sewer guy
Yeah, correct, goes,
Stearns.
right, but that one's a little funny, because you can go on, but you can't get off.
Yeah,
Stearns is there. Yeah, this is.
That's very strange.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
goes like that.
they had to do the lots that were pre-existing,
Right.
provide access to pre-existing lots.
exit four like that.
That's why I did that.
89.
Yeah,
Because it was overlaid on Route 10.
right.
You do, you can,
Route 10, where it was, is underneath 89 in that area.
Right.
And there was pre-existing home lots there. So they had to provide I guess the homes too.
Right. Permont,
Yeah,
Montcalm,
yeah,
were all
Yeah.
because if you needed
yeah.
access.
So there was pre-existing homes they had to provide access to.
well, sure, but if you get off the interstate there, you can get back on. the
Right, because you can't go the
Right.
other way, can't turn around.
Oh.
You can only, yeah,
Yeah, you can't do a U-turn there.
right.
Okay. There's only,
Yeah,
on one
Yeah.
side,
On
northbound.
one side.
Mhm.
yeah.
What else do we see at 10,000 feet? What other kind of zoning district do you
Well,
see?
the lakes, and do you want all the lakes to be one lake district, or do you want the Mascoma Lake to be its own district, and Bristol and Joyce Pond and Spectacle to be,
Well, let's just say we're gonna have 3 or 4 lake districts for now,
okay?
and then.
Yeah,
when
'cause
we- when
There'll,
we-
there'll be a long list of stuff that's common to each of those.
Yeah,
Right.
Mhm.
And then there may be a few things because of court.
Because pre-existing things along Mascoma that
Yeah,
are
well,
not
in
on
Mascoma,
Bristol,
some of Mascoma has sewer.
right, are available. sewers available.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
See, here's a conceptual thing I gotta ask. So David's drawing a line that's just around the lake. I think these lines ought to coincide with lot.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, well, see, I have an issue with that.
I'm just, you know, I'm at 10,000 feet.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
fuzzy.
right.
And I'm not so sure that I would agree with that. Because if we're doing a lake district and you've got, particularly like on Crystal, you've got 3 acre or 4 acre lots on some of them. I would think we would want to keep the lake district within, you know, arbitrarily
250 feet?
250, 500, make it coincide with what the state is. I mean, you know, we can debate that.
Right,
I mean, there's pros and cons of that concept on both sides.
right.
But you're doing the lake there, but after you do lakes, the Enfield Center,
Yeah, that's
that area, there's, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
I mean, it's from like a road sign to a road sign, you can define Enfield Center along Route 4A.
Yep.
Cause it's just that strip. And then how far back you wanna go is, what do you wanna do there? I'm not sure. But at least from one section of 4A to another section of 4A, and then the width.
where's Enfield Center end? Bog Road? Or does
Yes,
it end at the
that's-
town line?
Yeah, right, no, not the town line.
Then the Bog Road.
Okay, so from Bog
At the
Road
minute, yeah.
to
At the-
past Goodhue,
Oh, town line.
What do we
not the
think?
line,
I'm sorry?
From the bog.
okay, so
Well,
Well, that's what I mean.
Enfield
Yeah.
Center starts at Bog Road. And
I think it's.
does it end at Goodhue or
Or does it end where Shaker Hill Road,
Road.
Shaker Hill Road is?
At least for now, at least for the linear part of 4A. I mean, it could be, at least for now, for a rougher.
For now, yeah.
I mean, I would have to drive it and to get a like, okay, draw the line here. To get a much better sense of.
I thought we said Shaker.
Shaker.
Shaker, I'm sorry.
Shaker Hill Road, it's
I'm
right here.
sorry. Yeah.
Shaker Boulevard.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shaker Hill Road.
Shaker Boulevard. Well, it's Shaker Hill Road.
Oxford.
Yeah, Shaker Boulevard.
You're right.
Yeah, Shaker.
Shaker Hill goes.
Shaker Hill Road. Where Crystal Lake comes
Yeah,
out. Crystal Lake Road comes out.
yeah.
That could be called Enfield Center Village.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the housing starts.
Right. And, but there's also a commercial mix in there.
Right.
And so it's, you know,
What do we have commercially? We've got Proctor's Store, we've got,
The
Service
Speedway.
Pro.
Skate Place.
Yeah.
Well, it's right
now
now,
Service Pro or Serv Pro.
And the post office.
I got a whole house.
Post office.
But
It's also,
but it has the potential for other commercial.
It does.
activity.
yeah.
It has a church.
I have to leave, folks. I got
Okay.
a house full of guests and my wife.
He's gonna go do
Okay.
dishes now.
All right.
Wait.
We're past 8:30. You
Yeah.
guys want to go till 8:45?
Let's go to 9 o'clock.
10 o'clock? You'll be here by yourself.
Let's go to 9 o'clock.
No, I don't think so.
No, quarter of? Quarter of or end it now?
We gotta start accomplishing something.
We're kind of on a roll.
Quarter
Um,
of 9, okay.
Quarter of, okay?
Talk fast.
Well, you got the village. And that's a little hard to define, but
But I think requires a site walk to define specific lines.
Yeah.
The sewer district.
Well, I mean,
pretty much, but,
Yeah, we could call the village. the sewer
Where-
district.
right, I mean, the sewer plus whatever extension was more, well, could potentially happen. Because the sewer ends at a certain point,
Right.
short of Route 4, which ends in Caney, but the rest of it has stubs.
Well, are you
And
gonna
then look
keep,
at what lot would be next.
well, no, are you gonna keep the Route 4 district?
I mean, we spent a lot of time in there.
I don't,
I mean, it's not great, I mean, it's not happening on
I
how this
think,
development goes, but,
yeah,
Well, it's almost happening.
well, as far as the regs go.
I think the regs currently is written, while they encourage what you, I think they're actually discouraging what people might want to do there, what they might want to invest in. So I'm inclined to say for initially, no.
Okay.
But to change it now, I mean, with all this other stuff. And it's just
2025.
I don't know, I don't think we have time to really think about redoing the Route 4 district.
Just take it away. Just do away with it.
And what goes there in its place?
Yeah.
Well,
Commercial, industrial.
no. Again, I think you say that in the village district, and you may have a,
Well, we're talking village or Route 4 district, so they're two separate.
they're currently two separate districts. And I don't know that within the village, I could see definitely perhaps drawing a line around an area that you're going to allow commercial activity. But that's about as far as I would go with it. You're not gonna try to set. I mean, that district has, how many pages in the zoning
Right.
ordinance?
Right, the 4A, the Route 4
Right, it's
district.
Route 4,
Right, yeah,
Which I think is just way too complicated.
which is close to being the TIF district.
yeah.
Just simplify that.
Yeah,
I think that's probably really what I'm saying.
yeah. Oh, yeah, so yeah,
I agree, it's overly complicated and it's preventing activity probably from happening.
Yeah.
Because they just don't want to do that, but with all this other stuff we have to do, I don't think we can really have time to rewrite that one to something that we would like either.
I disagree.
well, I don't think we have to rewrite it. We can make some changes to it.
No, you're gonna,
Right.
we're tossing the whole thing. And we may cut and paste portions out of that, and
Yeah.
put in the new ordinance, but we're tossing the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah,
Would be my approach to this.
That's
well,
an
back
empty
to
piece of
drawing
paper.
lines. The downtown area would be where the short of the Route 4 extension, sewer extension, probably where it was before the extension. Where the sewer ended before that new pipe went in the ground. As
So
a
that was the
downtown,
end of
as a
Baltic.
downtown,
That was the end of Baltic.
call that the
Taller than
downtown.
me.
Well, I think you could take. Sure. I think you could
And
take
to-
the Northern Rail Trail, Canaan Town line, because that's right on that causeway and all the way across those wetlands. That's your southern boundary of your village district. No one's gonna build to the south.
Step ladder.
Yeah,
And then you hit McConnell Road and you drive right down, south, all the way to Shaker Hill Road.
Right, start me again, Tim.
Right up at the corner where the Northern Rail Trail comes out of Canaan.
Okay,
Follow that trail. Now turn left there onto, what's that road?
this is Westcott. and
Yeah,
Lovejoy.
Westcott. Go south on Westcott all the way to Shaker Boulevard or Shaker Hill Road.
Down,
Yeah.
further down.
Okay,
Right there.
And now make a turn, let's determine where, because you're gonna run into the Lake District here. So you're probably gonna, I'm gonna drive right down Shaker,
Shaker Hill Road.
let's go up Shaker Hill for now.
Or do we want to stop where the sewer stops?
Well, I mean, there's that development, the Pan Circle development.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a natural extension for the sewer.
it is, it may not happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, but it's,
The natural extension though, it comes from Route 4. So it's up Westcott.
So is there sewer now on Stevens and Wells? and
Yeah, all of
Union
those.
All of those, it goes to where the sheep
Goes to
farm
Lakes.
is.
Okay,
Lake Street,
so maybe we come down here and go like that,
yeah, probably something like.
not following the road.
Right,
And then we come back, back on Main Street,
Then you got some,
and where are we gonna go from here?
yeah, because then your Lake District's starting to overlap there.
Yeah,
Right, I mean, that's why I feel some of these
We can try-
areas need a sidewalk to get
Yeah,
more specific of where you wanna draw lines.
but just stop there, just stop
Yeah,
there.
just stop
Dave.
there.
okay,
Yeah.
So everything to the northwest of that line you just drew, all the way to the Canaan, Hanover, Lebanon town line is.
Yeah.
Start with that, call that the
so
village.
up to Maple Street
Yeah,
and then come down.
no, keep
No.
going to the
Keep
left,
going,
drop right straight down now.
how far? All the way down to Route
Keep
4?
going till you hit the Lake District.
Yeah,
Right there, Route 4.
should have used a different color.
No,
I mean, these,
I'm just gonna kinda
Yeah. I
go
mean,
like this and we'll figure out,
Right.
you know, where these lots belong at some other point.
right, I mean, because I think the northwest corner shouldn't be part of the village, but,
Okay, we'll,
right, these are just first line drafts.
now, you get the three lakes,
We haven't done,
spec ponds.
Now that I have, Jared standing.
Yeah, Spec Pond and George Ponds,
Smith Pond,
Spec Pond's pretty, was protected.
Pond
Spec
and
Pond's
conservation.
protected.
that's all conservation.
All
that's all
conservation. I
conservation.
mean, there's some private lots in there, but they're in the current conservation zone,
Right,
and those people are quite, they seem happy with
Yeah.
what's permitted there.
It's beautiful up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's,
they paid to fix the dam, so.
yeah,
All the people
yeah,
that,
they don't want,
Oh,
yeah, I don't think, Dr. George,
Dr. Baker.
Dr. Baker wants to see condominiums up there.
Now, are there any other special entities, special groupings of lots that bear attention?
what about George Pond?
We need a wetlands overlay to, along
Dr.
with the
Tyson will take
sewer
care of that.
overlay, because some of the wetlands
Not
are
anymore.
unbuildable.
Not anymore, he's resigned.
He's retired,
I saw that. You saw, yeah, you saw the writing on the wall.
effective December 31st.
Who resigned?
Dr. Tice.
He resigned?
Oh,
As of December 31st.
Now, how about everything else is just the rural district?
No,
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 how about up on Methodist Hills? Should we,
right.
Is
We wanna
Mascoma
call that
Heights an HOA? Mascoma Heights, does anybody know?
oh,
Yeah, that is an HO. I'm not sure if it's an HOA. They've got
Like a
beach rights.
Development.
Yeah, they got
up
beach.
there.
Yeah,
it's in
yeah,
a
it's one of the
town.
weird, other weird ones that were,
It's a town road.
yeah, if it's a town road, it's like, what,
Yeah.
Baker
yeah,
Hill
they
Road,
just sort of like.
kind of near the top.
Yeah.
On paper,
It's a
or
development.
Yeah,
It's a development.
Yeah,
No. that's
Nope,
Mountain
down
View.
further,
Go to the right.
where that little circle is,
Down here.
yeah,
What is that area?
Mascoma Heights.
Mascoma Heights.
That's development.
yeah.
It's an HOA.
I don't know if they are.
I think they have a beach, and that's why.
That's just the
They do.
beach rights, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like pay
They
the
don't-
taxes for the beach.
Yeah, exactly, because the road is a town road.
So we have I-89, and then the southwest, to the southwest triangular thing. To me, I personally think all that should be rural.
What? Over here?
Yeah. I mean, some distance off of Route 10 is your commercial, but from beyond that, I mean, it should be rural, large lots,
See, my
rural
belief,
development.
my belief is there should be nothing above an R3. You shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't have to have more than a 3-acre lot.
Yeah,
If you're not moving to
I'm maybe
Hanover.
with you there, Dan. I don't know how one would define the rural district, but what I'm saying is, once you get all these little clusters
Right,
picked out, the villages, instead of having R3s and R5,
Right.
2s, 7s and whatever,
It's just all rural.
It's all rural and there's no,
Yeah.
no minimum lot
No
size.
Well,
No differentiation. No, there should be, there
You-
should
you gotta
be
have
some
some-
kind of minimum, shouldn't there?
right, and so it stops being rural. Well, if you don't, because then people just keep subdividing into the minimum of what they can get a house and septic
And
on.
then it's called housing.
Yeah, but then,
Places to live.
It's called places to live.
but it's the downside is, to me, is the cost of the town services.
No, because you know what makes the size of the lot work? The market. The market drives your housing, not the size of the lot. If you want to have a 5 acre lot, I'm not gonna stop you. But what I'm going to say
Yeah,
is,
but then when the
you
developer
can't
comes
make
in,
me have a 5 acre lot in order to put a house on it.
but you're talking, and I'm looking at more from the developer's point of view, where he buys 100 acres.
Yeah,
And he's gonna maximize the number of.
he certainly is.
And
Yeah,
so he puts 20 homes out on Spec Pond area or on top of Methodist Hill roads.
Yeah.
There's a negative impact to, I mean, they can run their numbers all they want, but long term, there's gonna be a negative impact to the town. Especially if he puts in a road that becomes a town road. Cause he needs a road to service.
it's only a town road if the town accepts it.
Right, but town always can accept it. When has the town ever denied that was built to town specs? He built it to town specs because the regs require it. 10 years down the line, he says,
When's the last time we accepted something?
Fitzgerald Drive.
Lapan Circle, because Lapan Circle, the
Yeah.
developer went out of business, basically.
Right. And the town's sort of like, we have to service this now.
Right,
And I guess wasn't built too well either.
No, it wasn't.
no, it wasn't. So it wasn't
I
really.
mean, the last
built
one I know
to
it was
spec.
Fitzgerald Drive, which I guess was
Right.
actually built to spec.
Right,
Well, here's what I think.
But you still gotta pay it.
The rule,
Every 20 years payment.
this is how I think we should try to keep the rural district. I don't know anything about this lot right here. It's just big.
Steely's,
Let's say that's, I don't know, 200 acres. and
Yeah.
I think our zoning ordinance should permit pretty much whatever the developer wants to do to this lot, but only on a certain percentage of the lot. So we want to end up with most of this at the end of the day in some kind of
cluster,
Something with your cluster house.
cluster development.
Right, and if that became mandatory for vacant lots, if you want to put in X amount of homes on that vacant lot, then you have to do a cluster. That's
I believe X
different,
equals
that's
10,
different.
doesn't it, Kurt?
What?
X equals 10?
Well,
you put it-
I think currently
put it-
now.
yeah.
But it's only when the houses get built. The way it's currently written is that you can have 10 vacant lots.
Right.
You can have 20 vacant lots.
Yeah.
And not be clustered,
That's right,
and then sell them individually.
individually, one at a time.
So
And that's not really, to me, that's not promoting the rural character of
No,
this community.
It's not.
no, if you force it to be clustered lots, that's different.
And that's where I'm headed, but I think there's some problems with that I don't fully understand how to solve, and one of which would be,
That's Brandon.
I own this lot and.
Brandon.
Ooh, exactly.
I know, you own Sealy's
So I
lot.
don't, is that who that is? So anyway, I own that lot and I want to give my son a parcel
Right,
to build a home.
that's right.
And I want to carve off 6 acres to give him this. So I do that. And then his son.
Wants to live there too.
Right.
So,
Right, it's the ripple
ADU.
effects. Right.
And then there's an ADU, yeah,
so
no problem.
I don't know what you do to, how do you accommodate those because those are legitimate, very good reasons why somebody would want to do that. And I think we should enable that, but how do you do that and still not end up with stuff like this?
Well, I mean, where the lines are, it's the size of the lot that matters. How the lines are drawn, I couldn't care less. You drive down the road, you cannot see a property line. So it doesn't matter what it physically looks like on a piece of paper.
Right.
Classic one is Palmer Road.
Oh, yeah.
It's all these little narrow triangles. That's great. You drive up there, you see a house, you see a house, you see a house.
Right.
That's all you see.
Well,
So, but, it's the road frontage that determines how close they are.
I think
But,
that's Palmer Road.
No, this is Palmer here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Palmer, Georgia.
Off of George Hill.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That was carved up as,
So this, and I see what you mean. If these lots were a half acre each, or 1 acre even.
Yeah.
The line would be here, and this back part would be
Right.
conservation.
but I mean, the thing is, that's why it doesn't bother me what the shape of the lot is. It's the road frontage that's gonna determine how much spacing between driveway and driveway, curb cut and curb cut. By default, once those houses get built, all that backland's undevelopable now,
Right.
because there's a house in the way.
Well, that's a good point.
So is that what happened with Palmer Road, is that they made skinny, long
Yeah,
lots?
yeah.
to
That's
get-
exactly
to get
what
the
they
acreage?
did.
You got the acre,
Yeah, to make the acre.
right.
Because it's
If you
3
didn't have a,
Yeah. it's
They're all
5
3 acre
by
lots.
3 or 5 acre up there,
Yeah.
or whatever.
if you didn't have that 3 or 5 acre minimum criteria.
Right.
But you had a requirement for cluster housing. And say the developer or the owner of that lot didn't want to do cluster housing, you wanted to make 10 lots.
Yep.
Long, narrow.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's okay, because again, like you just said,
Well,
the backside of the lots
Well,
are.
I mean,
Except
Except-
you've lost the rural character, because the rural character you see is from the road.
right. Yeah, it's,
That's that's,
Right,
I guess that's the
right.
other
And
side
that's
of
where
it
the-
is,
I mean, the road frontage up there required is pretty long,
right,
because I think it is R5 and I don't know
right.
what the number is off the top of my head. But so there is decent spacing, so it
Yeah, there is, that's a fairly,
it doesn't feel like the downtown housing
no,
when you drive down the road. Because it has the wide
yeah, it,
road requirements.
it looks like Shaky Hill Road.
But, I guess. My view is looking at, when you go to southern New Hampshire. And you look at some of the towns down there. That could be Enfields 20, 30 years from now. If we said, do whatever you want. No lot size.
The
required.
market drove that.
Right, but the
Do you
market's
think
gonna
the
drive.
market's gonna drive that here?
Yeah, I mean, when they keep talking about
Probably
X amount,
time, sure.
well, you need 20,000 houses in New Hampshire and 10,000 in the Upper Valley, and I still question those numbers.
Well, so
that's
do
what-
I, but the
That's what they're pushing, that's what they,
But let's go from the other side, not the housing side, but from the transportation side.
Mhm.
Would you rather have housing closer or further away from Hitchcock? Or Dartmouth?
We're closer, but we're next in line.
Hanover,
Right,
I mean, we're feeling the pressure now, and that's why this developer is wants to do these,
of course.
because he sees the numbers.
He sees a 70-acre lot or a
Right,
50-acre
right.
lot or
But
a
he sees
150 acre.
that there's potential,
There is potential,
but he can sell
Right.
those, he feels he can sell those apartments.
right,
And that's why he's proposing to build them.
and that's why people are driving 50 and 75 miles to get to Hitchcock, because there's no housing.
Right, right.
So would you rather have all those cars on the road, or would you rather have housing close? That's the other
Right,
part,
well, that's close to what though?
close to where they work,
Yeah,
close commuting time,
I mean, the town's only 6 miles square. for
Right.
sake. It's not a big place.
Yeah.
right?
Maybe the question we should ask is, what do we absolutely do not want to happen in the residential area? What would transpire that a lot of people would find objectionable? And we want to make sure, I think the ordinance addresses
Right.
that. Outside of that.
Right, because our ordinance right now basically doesn't allow you to have apartments.
apartment complexes.
Yeah, if you wanted to put up a 6-unit apartment building in the rural district somewhere,
Yeah,
why not? As long as the septic, the well and all those
or if
things.
you want, if you've got a 100-acre lot, you want to put 20 units with a communal septic.
Yeah.
Then that even makes it better.
Why not?
Why not? On a cul-de-sac. Outlaw. And the rural character is the front where the septic is.
Well, or it's hopefully it's land that's put into conservation.
So is that,
Right.
you can't leave that up to the developer. That has to be on the books that it's either gonna be clustered close to the pre-existing roads.
Yeah.
And the back property is gonna be permanently conserved.
On the front,
Or you're gonna have a minimum road frontage and
right,
that's gonna limit the number of
that's gonna,
chops you can
right,
make.
Right. I mean, that is. I mean, but if you do, okay, the lots, then he puts in a road. And then he just branches off from that, like all the ones off of Route 4A, all those little dead ends.
Yeah.
That now with town roads, the ones that go away from the lake. Are town roads. And they just go up like 5, 10 houses.
Right.
A little turnaround and,
King James Road.
yeah, that's another one.
But the rural character's still there. Because you can't see that from Route 4.
No, you can't.
You can't see,
Right,
you wouldn't know that you wouldn't know that there were 20 houses back there.
That's true, that's true.
So if you do that with that 100-acre lot where you say, okay, you have to conserve the front and build in the back. And now now Boys Camp Road looks rural, even though there's 25 houses, 25 house development behind there.
Yeah, but you can't dictate that.
Well, you can tell
Why
them
not?
where they could put the cluster.
No, I don't think so, because I think what you're gonna have to say is each of those lots, as we all know, got widely different characteristics.
Right.
Topography and
Right.
wetlands and
Oh, yeah.
streams and whatnot. And you're gonna tell the developer, look, you can split this up, you gotta have a certain amount of road frontage.
Yeah.
You can do that, or you can do whatever you wanna do in an unlimited kind of way.
Right.
If you only build on 20% of the property. And where that 20% occurs, you might say it has to be contiguous.
Yeah.
Which I think was a problem with the village
The
district.
village plan.
Yeah.
It doesn't really
Oh, no,
matter.
yeah, exactly.
It'll end up being where he can do
Right,
the
you
work.
can build on 25% of this lot. Contiguous 25%.
Yeah.
And we don't care where you put it.
And we don't care about what your setbacks are from one house to the next.
Well,
If you put them all on one lot and call it a homeowners association or whatever you wanna do, boom.
Can you put
Yeah.
an apartment building there?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we're 15 minutes past our 8:45.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
That's a
I can second
non-debatable
that
motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions.
We did get something,
We got a hell of a lot done, Dan.
we did get something done, so that counts.
Actually, we got 2 somethings done.
We did. Well, we got a possible third one that may have a bad ending.
Well, yeah, but at least we addressed the issue.
So did we agree that you wanna see something in writing by on the 8th?
Dan, do you know the name of this?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I sent a quick blurb to Rob so that he can forward it to
That's not.
Dave. Brad.
What are you sending to me?
Oh, I sent Rob just a quick blurb from my minutes of the discussion around the letter to Brandy, so that you guys
Thank
had all
you.
the info there.
Thank you.
Correct.
Where'd Brad go?
What's this pond?
It's not half mile?
No.
Oh, that's,
Cole's there.
oh, that's your coal pond.
Schedule like
Coal
over the
pond.
next
No, Cole's over here.
3 or 4 or
This is
5
over Route
days.
Butternut, it's butternut,
Butternut,
butternut.
butternut.
Yeah,
Weekend,
you have to get up there.
Tomorrow's
Yeah.
okay.
Hong Kong.
I heard that there's trails from
Friday.
Eastman up there.
I'm trying to. I think okay.
Was it Eastman?
No.
No,
I think it's fairly short
No,
life.
Eastman goes to half.
Straight line.
That's not-
It's actually in.
That's not,
But that's a different town. It's called Granville.
You don't think so? I think it is.
I thought, but this is
No,
our border.
Butternut's between Half Mile and
This
Cole.
is
I
our
then the map's wrong.
border.
don't know what that
Oh,
is.
And the line comes around.
well,
here.
cause that's all. That's all,
You're good up to that.
cause you figure you have to come, you go up probably
Pick your
500
time
feet to
and
get.
place.
I never built.